The book of Exodus, chapter 15, verse 1. Then sung Moses and the children of Yasharel this song unto Yahuwah, and spoke, saying, I will sing unto Yahuwah, for he has triumphed gloriously. The horse and the rider he has thrown into the sea. He's referencing Pharaoh and Pharaoh's army in the first Exodus. Yahuwah, or Yah, is my strength and song, and he is become my salvation. He is my Elohim, Almighty, what that is saying. And I will prepare him a habitation for my father's Elohuah, or the Almighty of my father. And I will exalt him. For Yahuwah is a man of war. Yes, Yahuwah is his name. Shalom, Yashua, Elder DFG. Hey, my brothers and sisters, I thought today's lesson, kind of thought in terms of, I guess I would call it a tale of two kings. It probably won't be the title. Y'all know how that works with the elder. That can switch is what I'm saying. But it is about two kings of Judah, the teaching the lessons today. So I hope you have your hammer and saw and that you're ready to not only hear this word, brothers and sisters, but let this word, in your heart. Let it marinate, if you're using a cooking term. The daughters of Zion, you chefs out there, men of Zion, you guys know that if you really want to season a food, you have to let it marinate. If you want it to taste good, if you want people to enjoy it, if you want to enjoy it. The same thing goes with Yahuwah's word. When David said, I meditate upon that word, day and night, he said, I'll be like a tree planted by the rivers of water. And that's Psalms, as y'all know, chapter 1. But then he comes right back in Psalms 55, verse 17. And he says, I meditate on Yahuwah's word evening, morning, and noon. And this is one of the reasons why David is so renowned amongst Yasharel, why he's often referred to, in the scripture as a man of war, just as Yahuwah is. And as my brothers and sisters know, we are his ancestry, those of us who are of the tribe of Judah. All of Israel is the ancestry or the chosen of Yahuwah. We are all sons of Jacob. But Judah in particular, is a special group for a particular reason. And so the two kings that I'm going to discuss and talk a little bit about today, again, will be those two kings, King David and then King Asa. And so, if you are listening and allowing the word to, or plan to let this word marinate, so that you understand that it is not just to be heard but it is to be applied, then I can assure you, whatever challenges that this world is facing, I can assure you we will win. Isaiah reminds us in several places, he said, no weapon formed against us would prosper. Then he turned around and said, the enemy came in like a flood. Elohim will lift up a standard. Then he came back and said, those that wait upon Yahuwah, we will soar, like an eagle would soar. He also told us to cry loud and spare not. So he said, and he's encouraged, he said, Yahuwah is our Savior. Yahuwah is our Redeemer. Isaiah reminds us, if we go to the fire, he'll be with us. When we go to the flood, that he will be with us. But Isaiah also warned us, too, about our rebellion and how that, we will say one thing, but often do just the opposite. Or, even worse, we will listen and do absolutely nothing. And this is why Isaiah reminded us in the first chapter of the book of Isaiah, where he said, the ox knows his owner and the ass his master's crib. He said, but my people, they don't know. They don't know what they should know. They know everything, a little bit about most things, but nothing about the most important thing. And he was talking about the collective, not you and I, because that's why you're subscribed to this channel. And that is exactly why you're part of these teachings and learnings, including our Wednesday night Tanakh studies, so that we will not be classified, with those who Hosea said will be destroyed for a lack of knowledge. Right now, if you look at what's going on, in these churches, you see religion is falling apart, brothers and sisters. It's not even, there's a saying that it's falling apart by the thread by thread. Not anymore. Religion is burning down to the ground, especially religion in these United States. And in particular, the so-called, black church. Whatever the hell that means. I guess it's just black like in dark, black and void, black and nothing, because it's always what it's been. A place that the heathen set up for us to go and serve their gods. And then we became Baal worshipers like them, and then Yahuwah abandoned us. And we've been fighting wars ever since, and we've been losing. If anybody can tell me, I want you to think about this. Can you name me one war that Israel has won without Yahuwah fighting beside us? One. Not two, not three, not four. Just name me one that we won. And you can go through our book, obviously. You can go through any history books. I challenge. And you'll never see it. Yet we have our people now in these streets saying that, as soon as these food stamps get cut off, if they get cut off by the end of this week, as of Friday night, Halloween, interesting enough, the heathens, celebration of their gods, their pagan gods. You can even go to many of these churches, show you how the church and the dark and the occult are, one and the same. A difference without a distinction. But you can see the churches are falling apart. Christianity is falling apart. Islam falling apart. Islam is a toothless tiger. Any of you out there talking about you Islam, when are you guys going to wake up? Them dudes don't do anything. Oh, chop off women's heads. Some bullshit like that, but they ain't going to do nothing when it comes down to fighting against their enemies, because if they were going to do something about it, America and Israel has provoked them to the point of embarrassing them. I don't care if they're Turkish. I don't care if they're Lebanese. I don't care if they're Hezbollah. I don't care if they're Hamas. I don't care who they are, Saudi Arabia. They are nothing but a bunch of cowards. Islam mean what? Peace? Please. Change that. Islam mean cowardliness. At least by my book. Maybe in times past they might have had something going, but not now. Flatline. Islam is dead, and so is Christianity. And so all of you Israelites who are caught up in that, looking at Louis Farrakhan and all the other, jogging, the dude over in Africa, and Abram something. I can never say that dude's name. And I know, Brother James, you had mentioned it to me, his name, the other day. And I guess Yahuwah don't want me to say his name, because if I say his name, it makes me want to spit. And Yahuwah say, we don't need you to be spitting right now, Elder Savior. Savior's, well, anyway. But Islam is a joke. Allah Akbar my ass. They ain't fighting nobody. And on top of that, you Christian, double down Israel falling into the Christianity snare and trap. It's an embarrassment to themselves, not to us. I'm talking about the righteous remnant. Christianity is embarrassing to them, brothers and sisters. Whether you be in the Catholic Church, think about if you were brought up in Catholicism. I was born Catholic, into a Catholic family anyway. There were more pedophiles going on in there, touching on little boys and touching on little girls than you could shake it. The nuns were doing it, the priests were doing it, the bishops were doing it, the cardinals were doing it. Hell, it wouldn't shock me if the popes were doing it. With nobody being held accountable for it, to that moment, to this moment. And yet our people ran behind Catholicism, threw money, paid to go to Catholic schools, private colleges, etc., and never gave it a second thought. That's called social engineering. They call that predictive programming. Of people that the Catholic Church was a big part of sponsoring. Go read about what happened in Georgetown University or some of these other universities. Harvard University, another Catholic school. And how they funded slavery. And many of our people walking around, they went to Holy Cross College or Harvard or Yale or Colgate or Creighton or whatever. They all got their chest poked out. And I'm not attacking them. I'm just telling you that it's all, ignorance. People are destroyed for lack of knowledge. And there seems to be very few of us who can connect these dots. And I suspect I know why. Can you think 2019 but take off the 20 part? And just say the last two digits? This book talked about people walking around in a stupor, brothers and sisters. A stupor. Now, some of you may not know what a stupor means. It means you walking around, we used to have old saying, your heads are in the clouds. You're not paying attention to anything that's going on around you. Or you're walking, in the imagination of your mind. It's like daydreaming. I'm wishing on a star to follow where you are. I'm wishing on a dream to find out what it means. That's most of our people. That's what a stupor is. Imagining everything and doing absolutely nothing. And here's another example of it. You hear with this whole food stamp thing. If they do what they claim or possibly will do if the government doesn't open back up by the end of this week. And I suspect that the National Guard that's been placed in all of these inner cities are part of a bigger agenda. It had nothing to do with the crime rate in those cities, those inner cities, because most of those inner cities, using the heathens' data, the crime had dropped. I'm not saying there wasn't any crime. I'm just saying the stats were showing improvements. But yet, they put the National Guard and pretty much still putting National Guard troops all over this country. And we know a lot of the National Guard troops now are foreigners. They're not native-born American. They've been grafted in, so to speak. They were told, if you come and you join the military, then we'll give you citizenship. That's why you saw all those people coming across the border over the last 5 or 6 years during the Trump and Biden administration. Trump tried to pretend like he was doing something about it. He built a wall that was the equivalent of keeping your dog in the yard, with a 3/4 of the yard covered and 1/4 sitting wide open. He said, dog can't get out here now. Dog looking at him like, who are you talking to? I'll be back. But that was the Trump idea of building a wall. And then, of course, Biden just said, the hell with it, and he just let them come on in. But they did let immigrants in, but they were letting military soldiers in, brothers and sisters, to hurt and harm you and I, just so you know. They won't succeed in hurting the righteous remnant, but they're going to succeed in hurting many in Yasharel, in particular Judah. Because Judah has this arrogance about him and herself that you can't tell him. That's why Isaiah said the ass knows his owner, ox knows his master's crib. But Judah, so-called African American, let me be crystal clear. We ain't no damn African Americans, but that's how we let people describe us, and that's how many of you are still describing yourself. Someone come over there and call you an African. You say, I'm an Israelite, but you can go anywhere. Somebody, say, what's your identity or what are your nationality? Your ass to say right over there and say African American, and you know you was, so quit playing. You ain't gonna go in front of nobody and say I'm an Israelite. Many of you. Some of you will. Most of you won't. Go fill out a job application or any kind of loan application. You're going to check that little box there, African American, which you shouldn't be going getting any loan. We talked about that already, brothers. So we need to be opting out of the heathen system. But I'm just saying, for clarity purposes, to identify the group of people I'm talking about in particular that we're going to be teaching about today. Judah. But the National Guard now has been stationed and being stationed in all of these so-called inner cities. We know that code word for Judah, Israel. And they used open borders to cover up all of the soldiers from around the world that they were bringing here, murderers, killers, mercenaries. And now they're integrated into the National Guard. And whenever they get the whistle, because I guarantee you this is a 10-year plan. Follow me, you can. I guarantee you smart enough, dear sister. You can do it. Just stay focused. There's a plan that they put together 10 years ago. I remember there was a military exercise called Jade Helm. If you've been following Elder, you know I've talked about that already. And they were doing inner city urban military drills. Places like Houston, states like Texas, California, New York, to name a few states they were doing these exercises in, and got caught doing it. And then told them, oh, nothing new to see here. I remember Brother Green and Brother Mendez and another brother who's no longer with us. We were having conversations, and we saw all these military vehicles and stuff moving up and down in the inner cities. Again, about 10 plus years ago. And we were saying, what is this all about? And I remember about 5 years ago, I asked a colonel in the National Guard. I asked him, I said, what's going on? This was right in the middle of COVID. I said, why is all this military? He said, there's a big event coming. This was a colonel in the Louisiana National Guard. I asked this man face to face, and that's exactly what he told me. He said, there is a major event coming in the United States. I thought he was talking about like immediately. I guess he was talking about maybe now. And this was probably maybe 4 years ago. Yeah. I was surprised he was so transparent with me about it, but I guess he saw, I was, the general manager of a restaurant supply warehouse, and I guess he felt that he's in there shopping. I guess he was saying leader to leader, so he definitely told me. But we saw them moving all the military equipment all through the train rails and all through the highways. We saw them, Humvees and all these kind of things. You military guys, y'all know what I'm talking about. They were strategically putting them all over the country. And now, and I'm going back to the stupor in a moment. Y'all know how I teach, how you say it, cyclical and circle. So I'm not going to go drop. My name is not Charles Dial or Geno Jennings, where I go, riding off into the sunshine and forget what the hell I was talking about when I started speaking. As I said, the stupor. Here's where the stupor comes back in play. And this is why I started the mess up. Yahuwah is a man of war. Yahuwah is his name. Because we need to understand that, again, without Yahuwah, we ain't beating nobody. We're not winning any wars. We haven't won any wars. And I'm talking about no damn America. I said Yasharel. You and I. And the reason I specify Yasharel today, in particular Judah, because now you got Judah in the city saying this kind of foolishness. If they come and take my food stamps, or not take them. If they cut my SNAP off, my EBT off, I'm going wild out. I'm going to go to these stores and I'm going to rob these stores. I'm going to shoplift. I'm a how you say, snatch and grab or whatever, however they say it. I'm saying, seriously? See, this is where the stupor comes into play, brothers and sisters. This is why you need me here, okay? I know some of you may not think you do, but you do need me here. And at a time will come, you'll say, we should have listened to that man. Him, we should have cut off all these other idiots talking all this distraction, the Jason Black, Professional Black, to reach. Y'all heard all the names. You're going to say, I should have cut off Truth Unedited, should have cut all these people off, but I should have kept focused on Elder DFG. Yahuah'S prophet, I should have listened to him. His watching. One of Yahuwah's kings, I should have listened to him. But you didn't, and you'll be regretting it. But we'll see if I'm right or wrong. That being said, anyway, let's get back to the stupor. So they're saying they're going to, if they get the EBT SNAP benefits cut off, the government doesn't open up by this coming Friday, then they said they're going to just go and they're going to just start shoplifting and they're going to just steal and they're going to take. Well, brothers and sisters, do you understand what the military does? See, the military doesn't just fight wars. Some of you soldiers out there, you can let everybody know Elder knows what he's talking about. The military is what we would consider, just like the police are domestic, supposed to protect and serve domestically. The military protects and serves internationally America's interest. See, many of y'all thought, they just go fight wars. The wars they're fighting, brothers, is to protect America's interest. Just like when something goes on in a city, or they so-called rioting in a city, who shows up? Police, SWAT teams, sometimes National Guard. Why? To put out the riot? Stop you from breaking into Walmart. Stop you from breaking into Walgreens. Stop you from breaking into Target. They're there to protect the resources, brothers. So they're there to protect the elite's businesses. They give a rat's ass about, a rioter out there in the street. They ain't in there to calm everybody down and make the peace. They are there to protect the interests of the rich. And the military does the same thing internationally. So if you think that the military being placed down in these cities has something to do with the crime rate, no, it's what the crime anticipation is. And as soon as these bad, bad women and these bad, bad men doing all this talking about what they going to do if they don't get their food stamps, you know what you're going to see? A bunch of heads cracked wide open, a bunch of bodies laying around, shot in more ways than you can count, and the rest of them hauled off to Alligator Alcatraz. Or the Lone Star, what they call it? We talked about the one down in southern Texas. What do they call it? The Lone Star lockup or whatever. We talked about that a few weeks back. Go back and check. FEMA has 6 different, what they call zones. 6 different zones all over the United States. And each of those zones are government-controlled zones, militarized zones. They want to tell you, oh, no, it's just about a national disaster. They always lie. You really think they're going to tell you what's really going on, brothers and sisters? You're nothing but the resource. You're the help. They're not going to tell you any goddamn thing. They're going to just tell you, go believe, this is a call for an uprising. Go over there and get distracted. While we sit right here and set you up like a Thanksgiving turkey. Think it's privileged because it's eating more corn than the other turkeys, only to realize, no, you're dinner, just not now. So they're running around these communities, brothers, doing all this talk, what they're going to do. And we didn't already see, if you know anything about America's history, the rise in Watts, the rise in Los Angeles, the rise in Detroit. I'm talking about big rise where people got killed, brothers. So I ain't talking about throwing rocks in St. Louis or wherever Michael Brown was. I ain't talking about that. I'm talking about where it was real guns and real bullets and real bodies. And it was all to protect property. Had nothing to do with protecting some white man or some white woman or whatever, Asian, who got beat up in the street. They were just collateral damage. So that's why I talked about it a couple of days in the book of Sirach, they said that you should listen to a man that has traveled a while. What he was simply saying, someone that has a little bit more experience by living and being aware of what's going on than you may have. Yeah, you can read about things and learn, of course. You can be taught things you hear. But there's no substitute for being there. It's like a person talking about the war in Vietnam versus a soldier who fought in the war in Vietnam and killed and saw people killed. They have a total different perspective and respect for war. It's not a fairy tale for them. It's not wishing on a star for them. It's a reality that haunts them most of the time for the rest of their lives. All people in the inner city, yeah, they may have seen, Israel shoot Israel on the corner somewhere, and they think they've seen something. Saw a drive-by. It's rough out here. I saw New Jack City. I saw boys in the hood. I saw menace to society. I saw old dog. I'm old dog. No, you're not. Now you're going up against the military, you're not. And so this fantasy land they live in, this stupor that they project out here, and a lot of our brothers and sisters, some of you who are not in a stupor, but you're easily distracted, you're over there listening, and you really think that somehow or another these people are going to stop something that's going to, happen to you. So you're looking at it like, well, I ain't going to be out there in the streets, elder. But if they're out there fighting in those streets because they're trying to cut off my food stamps, then I'm with them, elder. I'm talking to you too. You put money in bags of holes in a little sister. What they call themselves now, these YNs. These YNs ain't marrying up with you. These YNs ain't going to take care of you. These YNs don't even understand anything about responsibility and accountability. You waiting for a husband and you trying to get one from a YN? He ain't coming, honey. He's not coming. You're the last thing on his mind. Trust me. Only time you rise up on his mind when he rise up with that other thing. Then you on his mind. When this little head, wants to be fed, then you rise up on his mind. Otherwise, you ain't in his mind. Yeah, he talk to you nice on the phone and text you. Maybe even take you to McDonald's. I don't know. Might even take you to Houston's. He might take you out 1 or 2 times. But little sister, he ain't marrying type. And quite frankly, most of you aren't either. So, it's equitable. So if you think he's going to be your hero on a white horse coming down there to save you because he's going to fight the government, he's in a stupor, and guess what? Unfortunately, you are too. That's why I say It's time to, to change your ways. What did Hagar say? You're putting money in bags with holes in it. Sister, it's time to reconsider your ways. And you gray-haired sisters out there, you ain't doing nothing any different. You're not helping the young ones because you over there, helping yourself too. You still trying to compete with her for the young niggas. That's why you running around there dressing half naked. Fake this, fake that. And the mouse chased the cat. Because it's all perverted, all backwards. But this is what that stupid looks like. And many of our people think that somehow or another, I'm not saying that these food stamps will not be available at the end of this week. Y'all hasn't given me that revelation. Quite frankly, I don't think Yahuwah cares whether or not a bunch of rebellious Israelites eat or not. I know according to this book, the book of Deuteronomy says that Israel in its rebellion, Yahuwah said he's going to let you starve. So all you people in the church, you praying to your Jesus or whoever you pray to, I guarantee he ain't coming through for you. Oh, what if the food stamps, the government come back in session? They ain't nothing but heathen tricks. Nothing but skullduggery. They're just playing magic tricks with you. Ultimately, they're going to shut it down. Somebody got to do the heavy lifting, and the damn heathens of the elite ain't going to do it. You can show you that. That's why slavery existed. They ain't planning on getting their hands dirty. Oh, no, you the workforce. You just don't know it yet. And they will kill to protect their property. And all the talking about what they're going to do, brothers and sisters, in terms of, I'm talking about these so-called inner city people, young and old, men and women, so it's not gender specific, it's not age specific. All of them talking all that talk. When that military show up with real guns and real bullets, I can assure you, brothers and sisters, whatever rebellion that comes up, it's going to be, that fire going to be put out as quick as it gets started, and Yahuwah ain't going to do nothing to stop the slaughter. We talked about it in the book of 4 Ezra chapter 15, how the neighbors would be attacking each other, breaking and kicking any time. He talking about how brothers going to go against brothers. He talking about those heathens fighting the heathens. I'm talking about the Edomites, the Canaanites, the Havites, all the ites. Not excluding Judah. But he said they're going to be fighting and kicking, throwing and stealing and eating each other, grabbing each other's food and things. He said that was going to happen. You see that word S-P-O-I-L, spoil? That just means food and possessions. So whenever you're reading, you see that word, that's what it means. It means they're going to be taking your possessions, things you have, including you sisters who don't have a covering. I know you don't want me to say it, but I'm going to say it anyway. They're going to kick the door in and come in and snatch your little ass up. And they're going to knock the fire out you old ass ones who think you're going to do something to stop them from doing whatever they want to do. And it don't matter what your ethnic group is. To the elite heathen, white women ain't nothing but white trash to be used and thrown away. So you white women out there who you so think you so protected because you got, your stride, you in your stride, you in your groove, and nobody has never done anything. And all you got to do is call the police or call your sons or call your husband, call your brothers. What's going to happen when you can't call nobody? And even if you call them, they ain't coming. Some of you should already know that by what happened with COVID. Those who decided to hang back, y'all know what I mean, not participate. Your family didn't cut you off. I'm just asking. Your heroes didn't come in and help you out. Your heroes didn't make provision for you. I'm just saying, all these heroes you got, somehow or another they're going to show up the next time around. You didn't learn from the first time, did you? Because you were too desperate, too hungry to be white. That you couldn't even see your own kind don't give a damn about you in a crisis. In Israel, Judah in particular, the church actually sold you on it. Told you, what would Jesus do? Told you, what about Mama and Papa? I'm talking about you Hispanics too, because you little essays and whatever the hell however you talk. The Boro, Your ass is just as wicked as the rest of Judah. Y'all gonna get you too. No, the statue you got of Saint this and Saint that or Saint anybody gonna save you behind. You can be a Pentecostal, how you say, a non-denominational, you still a heathen. And you're going to hell, and you're going to be destroyed. But they were confederate. The book says, Psalms 83 said what, brothers and sisters? That these heathen would be confederate against us. Talking about the righteous Judah. But Judah would also betray itself. Because Judah thinks it can somehow talk its way into Yah's mercy, or talk its way into Yahuah's grace. It's not going to happen. Hadn't happened yet. So you think if you out there, again, you young folk who out there, you talking about, you muscled up, you going to do this. No, you're not. You're going to be in jail, or you're going to be in a cemetery or a crematory or a potter's grave. When the government collapsed, it's not the world you live in. You haven't seen it. If you want to get an idea of what happens when a government collapses, I suggest you go watch, what's the name of this movie? Hotel Rwanda. Or even sometimes in April. It's another good one. Talks about the Rwandan genocide. Rwanda is a country near Uganda in Africa. Or you want to go back to Africa, folks want to go. When they put them machetes upside your head, you're going to be wanting to come back home then with the quickness. After all, to them, you a heathen. Guess you didn't think about it. But you might want to go watch that and see what happens when a government falls apart. And then people who didn't necessarily like each other but were able to coexist with each other had no more restraints to keep them from harming one another. And what happened? Over 1 million people were slaughtered in 3 months. Men, women, children did not care. Had nothing to do. If you were this particular ethnic group, then you were done. In America, that you could just say if you were a so-called Israelite or African American or Puerto Rican or Native American, you will be that group. You will be that targeted group. You got a whole lot more weapons in America than they had in Rwanda. They were using machetes to chop heads and chop bodies and rape and ravage and spread every kind of disease known to men onto these women and men and children. And the Catholic schools and the private schools and the church in Rwanda didn't do a damn thing to defend those Rwandans who were so-called, it wasn't the Hutus, it was the other group, Tutsis. I think they're Israelites, by the way, the Tutsis. The Tutsis. Slaughtered them. Catholic Church and all the religions were right there watching and do a thing. Matter of fact, they were part of the genociders, those who were committing the genocide. No different than right here. You think that church is a safe haven because you go there every Sunday or you go there on Saturdays and they are welcoming you and they love your little, your little pickaninny nigga ass. You think there's something special about you. Look how long her hair is. She's so pretty. Look at him. He's so cute and handsome. His mama keeps him clean all the time. He don't even stink like the rest of them little stinky niggas. There's a video going around right now. It's on these two pastors, white men, in their mid-30s, maybe early 40s, talking about that America would be better off if they started executing Deuteronomy 21 on Israelites. Now, they don't want to identify us as Israel, but when it came down to slaughtering us or wanting to kill us or stone us to death, they hurried up and went back to Deuteronomy 21. I wonder what they know. I wonder what they actually know. I don't have to wonder. I do know they know. Church is always known at the very top who we are. That's why they pulled us in there. That's why they used the Pastor Winings and the Geno Jennings and, and the Dowells and the T.D. Jakes and the Creflo Dollars. The Juanita Bynums. That's why they use all of them to keep you niggas in the pig pen. The slaughter pen. They're paid operatives. Just like they told you to go, get the jab. It was the right thing to do. And many of you listen. Some of you are dealing with, the consequences of listening. There's a stupor in the land, and I wouldn't disassociate it with that. It's like it's this cognitive dissonance. You know what I'm saying? Convenient lies for uncomfortable truth. Let me just go over there to them because they'll say what I want to hear. I'll come over here and they'll attack me. I'm not attacking you. How am I attacking you? Did I physically put my hands on you? Did I take something from you? Did I go grab your spoils? Did I kick in your door? Tell me exactly how I attacked you. Or did I just say things you didn't want to be, things, I just called out the thing that you trying to hide. Is that the problem you have with me? Or I just identified that, your commitment is not a commitment. Your commitment was just a show. You're so busy convincing people how clever you can lie that all of a sudden you ran up to someone who said, "Nah, I see through your lie. And I'm not going to participate in your lie." And for me to agree or to look the other way when I know you're lying would be the equivalent of me being a conspirator with the liar. Now remember in Maccabees, what is that? 2 Maccabees chapter 6, where the older man, the son of Aaron, tribe of Levi, how they tried to convince him to con the people, to pretend that he was, that he was, doing what they were doing, but the whole time doing something else. See, our people, that's the kind of leadership they want. He wouldn't do it. He said, "I'll be damned. I'm going to stand true. So I'm going to stand on my ground." He said, "It might cost me something, but good. At least I'm going to die with peace in my heart, knowing I did not deceive anybody." So this is the kind of leadership that Israel wants. They want the clergy who going to just lie to them. Clergy who going to look the other way. Clergy going to say, "It ain't that bad. Just, that's him." All right, we'll see. This book says it's going to be a great desolation. This book says it's going to be a great destruction. This book says it's going to be a great day of lamentation. This book says it's going to be a great day of suffering, mourning. This book says that 2/3 of the people are going to be destroyed in the fire, and another third are going to be destroyed due to famine and diseases, and by the sword. Wild beasts would eat them in the streets. Those who were not ravished by, other heathen nations. Jeremiah 15, right, talks about it. But you can read it in other places. Amos said it's going to be a famine, he said, in the land. He said, but not a famine of the word. He said, not a famine of food or famine of water. He said it's going to be a famine of the word. In other words, he's saying it's going to be a famine of the truth. Because the people are going to be in a stupor, and so because they're in a stupor, they're not really wanting the truth. They just want to be entertained. Brother Mendez, we talk about that. There's no desire for education, but there's a huge, huge supply and demand for entertainment. That's why you see these other channels, they got thousands, if not millions of viewers over there. Because they entertain. They tell you a great story. Let me tell you about the birds and the bees and the flower in the trees and the moon up above. Anything called love. That's what they are. Well, we over here saying, no, let's prepare for war, because Yahuwah is a man of war. Although our people in these streets talking about they're ready to fight a war. But they're nowhere near in position to win, plus Yahuwah's not going to be with them. And again, where are the wars we won without him? Yasharel. When we were doing what we wanted to do, and Yahuwah wasn't with us, tell me about the wars we won. That's a fair question. See, our people don't know how to err on the side of caution. Our people just like you said, there's a way that seemed right to them, and they just run straight into the damn fire. Well, Proverbs 14:12, there's a way that seemed right to a woman, and the ending of it going to cause her death. Now, he said man, but it applies to you too, daughters of Zion. Yahuwah's no respecter of person. See, he's not a romantic. He's a man of war. He's not sympathetic. He's a man of war. He doesn't worry about your children like you do. He's a man of war. Either you are on his side or you're not. He takes no prisoners, is what I'm telling you. You'll see. Give me a minute. We'll get there. But that's phase one of, we gonna fight against the military. If they don't give us, we gonna break into these stores and we're gonna take what we want. We're gonna snatch and grab. You ain't gonna be snatching and grabbing for long. Somebody gotta fill these FEMA regions and all these FEMA prisons and all these FEMA regions that you don't know about. Some of y'all know there's 6 regions. Some of you don't have any idea. Some of you don't know nothing about deep underground military bases. And you ought to ask yourself the question, why do they need military bases under the ground? Oh, so they don't get attacked by another nuclear company. When the last time any foreign company came to America and attacked Americans? Name me one time. I'm listening to. And don't talk about no Pearl Harbor. Hawaii was not one of the 50 states in 1941. 41, whenever they attacked it, whatever time, 45, but who cares, don't give a shit. I think it was December 7, 1941. Hawaii was not one of the 50 states. Hawaii didn't become a state to 1959, almost 17, 18 years later, brothers and sisters. So when you say, well, the Japanese attacked Pearl Harbor, yeah, a country that would have been more of like a proxy, country that was working along with it, like the Philippines or somewhere like that. But it was not. The United States have not been attacked by a foreign country since its existence. What about the war with the Revolutionary War? The Revolutionary War was not about America fighting against Great Britain. It was Great Britain fighting to take its colonies back from colonial soldiers who were English as well, who were resisting or rebelling. The United States didn't become the United States till after the Revolutionary War. So that doesn't count. I'm talking about foreign wars. I ain't talking about internal wars, where it came and attacked right here in America. Go ask your history teacher why he didn't teach you, or why he didn't teach you about this. But then again, that's why you're here, because you know you're going to get taught, informed, educated here. We say T.I.E hashtag. So all of a sudden they're underground now because they're worrying about what again? It never happened. We got oceans protecting this continent. Oceans all around it. You got to come over water to get here. But what about the IMCBs? Look, that's, again, come out of Disney World. Come out of make-believe. Well, you trying to say if missiles can't attack America? I'm saying none has. You talking about what could be, I'm talking about what hasn't happened. And I'm telling you, if it was to happen, it sure ain't going to protect you, Judah. Israel. They're not going to protect you. They're going to leave you up as cannon fodder. Your ass going to be on top. Those deep underground military bases, they use the abbreviation of DUMB. Interesting. D-U-M-B. Deep underground military bases. All over the United States. Not just in Nevada or Wyoming or wherever they're telling you at in the mountains. No, they're everywhere. There are tunnels all over the place that you don't know about, hidden doors all over the place. So they're under there. So when it's time for them to come up and put their arms and make America just a big giant prison, and then FEMA region where you can't get out of these particular regions without a passport or some type of permission, like slaves, they couldn't be off the plantation without, a pass from their master. What do you think all this internet control, all these cameras, CCTV cameras and all this stuff all over the place, satellites watching, all this ID stuff going on. You don't think that's a part of that? You better believe it is. They're going to be able to shine something on your face. Say, nigga, where your pass at? What you doing out here? Well, I was on master Target plantation. I'm on Master's Microsoft plantation. I was on Master Google plantation. I used to work for here and I used to work for this. Remember they gave everybody passes to work, If during COVID, if you needed a job, you can get something from your boss saying you could travel around. So see, our people have a tendency to forget the past. And there's a saying that those, and I know we don't get into sayings anymore unless they make sense. This is not a heathen paganistic statement, but those who forget the past are doomed to repeat it. Same thing as Solomon says, nothing under the sun, nothing new. As was before, will be again. Same difference. Our people have a tendency to forget these things. I was working in corporate America at the time, so I was considered an essential worker, so I had to get a pass from my employer that said I could travel through the city. I'm making it up, right? No, you were sitting at home getting your weekly checks to be pacified while they were putting these cameras all over the place and digging underground to make sure when these walls come up that you didn't know were there, you are trapped like a rat in a mouse trap. Then you got this other group. I already talked about the group who say they're going to, with the food stamp stuff, they're going. Then you got another group say, I wish they would come in here and they start talking about taking over this city. We're going to get our guns and we're going to shoot it out. No, you're not. No, they're not, brothers and sisters. These are trained soldiers, not your cousin. Not, how you say, dookie them. It's not little rabbit them. It's not little stinky them. These real soldiers. And little stinky them gonna run. Of course, right into the prisons, FEMA camps, to know what region they put them in. And now they passed laws while you were sleeping that you can be an American citizen and get arrested and shipped outside of America to other prisons. Countries that are in agreement with America. America incentivized or paying them, to use their prisons. So daughter Zion, you ready to be snatched up, and thrown in jail? Leave your little children behind? You ready? Because any kind of rebellion, that's what's going to happen to you. Your child going to be down there somewhere in another state, long gone, probably child trafficked somewhere, and you never going to see him again. Just like they did on the plantation. So y'all forget. Some of these Negroes on these plantations, they love the master, and they were just real like family. But see, when he got on hard times, he started selling them off. Little Susie, $500. Little brown nigga George, $5 because he lazy. But if you got a whip, you can get into work. Oh, yellow one over here, light skin, long hair. Now she $1,000. But you can do anything you want to do to her. Cold word, you can rape her day and night. She ain't gonna fight. And if she does, just beat her damn near into of her life. She won't fight then. And you still can have your pleasure. See, this is the kind of conversation I know nobody wants to have. That's why I'm having it. That's why Yahuwah say, cry aloud, sparing out, lift up your voice, warn them. So they're not going to listen, many of them, but you warn them anyway. And all you gentlemen out there, you tender, delicate ones who just can't deal with taking direction from a leader, don't be surprised if you're sitting in somebody's whole house. You the hoe. Now you laughing. You better go read the book of Joel chapter 3. He said made a boy a whore. So I don't know what you laughing about. Unless you have a fetish for that kind of behavior. Which is an abomination before Yahuwah, by the way. But you know how it is. Down low, dude, down low. They're always gruff and tough. You put them in a room with a bunch of men's folk. You'd be surprised how fast they pull off their draws. See, all these things are real. This is stuff. And so you think that they're going to, because the National Guard is interrupting their trade, their ability to do business on the corners. Yeah. And they got all kind of weapons. Brothers and sisters, that's laughable. You better cut it out. You better cut that out. First of all, they've got every okay. You might well do yourself a service, young men, you bad ones, and just Google up different types of military weapons. Weapons, technology weapons, laser weapons. Just Google it up, just for shits and giggles. You know, you don't have anything better to do. You all on TikTok all the time, any goddamn way. Just Google it up, see what they got out there. See if you're ready for the robot dogs and the robot, little mosquitoes that have bombs on them, grenades on them, that has poison in them, and all they got to do is just bite you, and you'll be dead in about 5 seconds. Just go look it up. Because you way too deep in this thing not to know all this. So surely you know. I mean, after all, the little nigger women's, they like you because you got dreadlocks and you be talking smash. So surely let them know that they can count on you and that you're equipped to defend them against the weapons that are already been formed against you. I mean, I think that's fair. If you're going to defend them, at least they ought to know that you can, right? But see, this is the stupor. This is what happens, when the people, are distracted, when our people, are becoming, or better said, have been seduced and being government dependents. And this is why Sister Maria and Sister Sister AO always talk about coming out of the system. And you'll hear Brother Cameron talks about it too. But most of the time when I say this, I know the rest of you brothers and sisters, y'all quiet. I wonder why. Y'all scared? Well, they ain't going to help out. Do you know what the future looks like? They opt in. That little money you've been giving them, that might be the very money you could have used to, find your way to where safety are, where we are. Could have got you enough gas and resources where you'd been walking with us. But you didn't gave it all away under the guise of I got to pay my taxes. I got to be a good American. But what you don't realize, there's no such thing as a good American. They're only Americans. And guess what? You ain't one of them. Israel, I know you think you are because that's what your school system told you. But why don't you go back and look at their behavior towards you since you've been American since 1865? You don't know anything about Jim Crow laws and segregation laws and vacant laws and sundown laws? You don't know anything about that? Mass incarceration, the military-industrial complex? You don't know anything about that? You don't know anything about redlining and redistricting? You don't know nothing about segregation? You don't know anything about experimentation like the Tuskegee, or syphilis? You don't know nothing about that? Have you read the book, Medical Apartheid? Just ask them. Do you know about the 1,000, race massacres that happened from early 1900 to about 1940, 1945? You know about those? Or maybe about 1890 to about 1945. You know about all those? American you? American me? You know all about that? You know about you were, the last being hired, first being fired, wage differences, wage imbalances. Average white whole family, average household for a white family runs almost about $1 million. The average income for a black family, somewhere about $70,000, $80,000. But you don't see no bias there, American you. You don't see any bias when most of your people are the ones who are incarcerated. 1 out of 3 Israelite men and women are going to spend time in prison. Not white kids, your kids. Some of you have. You know what I'm talking about. Not the bad little kid. No. You know how many people who are in prison, brothers and sisters, who committed no crime? The crime was the melanin. So your little innocent son, your little innocent, he's a good boy. He's college bred. I trained my son up to be a good, American. Well, he's in prison now. Or who knows where. How about the guns and the drugs planted all through our communities to create an environment of self-destruction? What about that? Can we talk a little bit about that? How about the poor education systems? Because Americans pretty much get a good education because they get an American education. They education about George Washington, Abraham Lincoln, Thomas Jefferson, Benjamin Franklin, Francis Scott Key, Bessie Ross. Who you learning about? Who your children learning about? American you. Oh, I forgot. Frederick Douglass, slave. Booker T. Washington, former slave, or at least son of a slave. Harriet Tubman, runaway slave. Martin Luther King, sold out preacher man, mental slave. Who else? George Washington, Carter, again, slave. But he did use peanuts really well. You don't see a common thread there, brothers and sisters? American you. But then again, you pay into your own oppression. Because when we say stop, you say, no, I'm too American to stop. After all, what if? What if? And at the same time, you say, I trust. You guys remember what we were told in the book of Enoch 91, verse 4 said, never trust a double-minded man or woman. Y'all remember? So one side they say they trust Yahuwah, but over here they fear the government. They say they trust in Yahuwah, but they obey the government. Yet the book tells us we're not supposed to align ourselves with these governments, especially not financially. I wonder what you think Hosea. I wonder what some of our brothers think Hosea Haggai said when he said, do not put money in bags with holes in it. Could he have been saying you don't invest in something that's not invested in you? Could he have been saying that? See, those of you who support the work here because you know I'm invested in you, so that's why you support those who do. Those who don't, it's because you don't care to do so. And that's on you. But the others, they know. So they plan something. No, I'm investing in him who invests in me. But our people will not invest in here but they'll gladly invest out there. Same folk who willing to lock your kid up just for looking at them the wrong way. Being in the wrong place at the wrong time. Just for saying something back to them. For running away from them. Hell, sitting in their own apartment eating ice cream. Bolton John, y'all remember that story. Looking out her window to see who's in her yard. Tasha Anna Jefferson. Having a tail light that was out. Sandra Bland. Oops, I didn't pay my child support. Walter Scott shot in the back. Freddie Gray should be riding around with a pocket knife. Tamir Rice. Mama shouldn't have bought you that little BB gun. Told you about celebrating birthdays. But you paid that police salary who shot him. In all these cases, there were police who killed him. You paid for your tax dollars. Hope you're happy about it. Hope you feel good about yourself. Since you trust them so much, I've got to do my part. Or not. You can always come out, and that's an option. That is an option. So yeah, the National Guard are all in all of these cities. and thinking of talk, but they telling you, oh no, it's about, the crime rate, even though the crime is down. Oh, it's about this. Oh, it's about that. We just want to make America great again. Whatever lie they tell, it doesn't matter. They're liars. They're born liars. Oh, you didn't know the book said that? Yahuwah said they were born liars. He said the wicked are strange. He said they shot out the womb of their mother. Just pop out of her little wicked ass and lying. She a liar too, though. So it's kind of like, we're saying the apple don't fall from the tree. Oh, that's a saying. Okay, then how about this? From the wicked come wickedness. That's scripture. While you planning, what you going to do this weekend so you can have some fun, they're planning 10 years out what they're going to do to you so they can win. So they can have full control. Put you back on the plantation. Get you in a place where you're useful again. And again, Joel says, he said they're going to sell them. Joel chapter 3, read it for yourself. Again. Hell, Deuteronomy said again. Deuteronomy 28:68. There's a bunch of agains. Solomon said nothing new under the sun again. Oh, it can never happen again because you say so. And exactly what you're going to do to stop it. And please don't talk about you're going to pray because you don't obey the Torah. You don't obey this book. You don't even want to have nothing to do with this book. You all over the place. You're obeying everything but this book. And somehow or another, you think Yahuwah just going to just wake up one day and hear your little sweet voice. And all of a sudden, he's going to have a feeling of guilt. All of a sudden, he's going to say the wicked do evil, but it's not their fault. That's not what the word said. Yahuwah said, I'm going to crush them. I'm going to destroy them. That's what he says. They're going to be desolate. They're going to be suffering, mourning. Rachel's trouble. Jacob's trouble. Rachel's weeping. That's what Yahuwah says. He said, except for a very small righteous remnant. Us, of course. The rest going to be destroyed. And not because, Yahuwah didn't love them. Yahuwah said, I have no pleasure in the death. He said, no, not because Yahuwah didn't love us. He said, no, we chose, talking about the majority of those who are in rebellion, ones who are listening to these, these, I say, armchair quarterbacks. They're going to tell you all about the world and how it's made and all about chemical weapons and dietary laws and food and, and keeping this Shabbat and keeping that, feast day. All of them. That's the ones who are going to be your death. They're going to be the death of you. Because see, as the Christian church and all these other religions fall apart, a lot of Israel are going to come back. And they're going to fall into the trap of the Gathering of Christ Church, GMS, Israel United in Christ, Israel School of Knowledge, whatever it is, USPK, all them other groups, there's a bunch of them out there, straightway. They're going to run into them hellhole fires. Never realizing that these dudes are government agents. And you can think I know or you can think I don't know. But I guarantee you I'm right. And you'll have an opportunity to find out. Like, listen to them. Who are they talking about? Me, 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 me. Listen to them. Always me, 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 me. Very seldom they're talking about you. They damn sure ain't talking about us. Only in a, how you say, holistic way they talk about us. We Israel. But when you start looking at teaching and educating, genuinely caring, having a background or service their whole life, whether they were in the church or out the church, they don't have that. These guys were entertainers, singers, military goons, grunts, you know what I'm saying? The lowest part of the military. The shit people, for lack of a better word. And now all of a sudden they up there, chest poked out because somehow or another, a bunch of, Israelites got a hair up their butts and say, I'm going to follow him. I ain't going to follow him, but I'm going to follow him. I'm confused, even worse. I wonder why. Book says stupor. I wonder if he's talking about them. Hopefully not some of you. But this thing is real. It's not a game. And that's the problem with our people. We think everything is not serious until it's serious. And by then it's far too late. We should have been opt out of paying into the system of oppression. We should have a long time ago. I'm not paying nobody to build no private prisons for profit when I'm going to be and my children are in there, disproportionately. No way. If you want it, come take it. That should be your MO, modus operandus. If you want, you're going to have to take this. I'd be damn well voluntarily give it to you. And strange enough, if enough of us had taken that approach, they wouldn't be able to do a damn thing about it. They pretty much have to do what they did in Native America, just leave us the hell alone. Talking about the fake $5 Indians, of course. I ain't talking about, true Israel Native American. It's funny because when you think about it like this, all these things that are happening on the earth, the thing that most people never stop to identify, and then if they do stop to identify, they do it in an accusatory way, brothers and sisters. They never recognize that Yahuwah is allowing all this stuff to happen. Our enemies who are in high places, they have to get permission to do the things that they do here. And we are the main reason why Yahuwah allows them to do it. When Satan wanted to attack Job, he had to get permission. When he wanted to attack Abraham, he had to get permission. When he wants to attack me, he has to get permission. Maybe some of you. He has to get permission. But that's only if that wall is up around you. And there's no wall protecting you when you protecting yourself and you're doing what you want to do. You can't be told, you can't be corrected, you can't be, counted on. There's no wall protecting you. And although things may not have happened to you just as yet, it's coming. The book says so. I'll take my word for it. Why don't you just read this book that you say you believe? You say you trust in Yahuwah. You say you love him. Someone in the comments today, oh, I love Yahuwah. Oh, Yahuwah this. No, Yahuwah that. Oh, Yahuwah this. Like, again, the mouse chased the cat. They love the idea of being in Israel. They love the idea of being a part of the righteous remnant. They love the idea of gathering with the righteous remnant. But at the end of the day, they don't love the idea about the change. They're not changing anything. We've talked about that. I'm not going to go back through that whole litany of stuff that I went through on Shabbat. You can go look at the Shabbat message at the very beginning of it, talking about those kind of individuals. And I would say this, there was someone that had erred in his way, and he was contrite. And I know that, I stepped back and accepted his contrition, and I know Yahuwah did too. Because he meant it. And lying exactly out what his contrition was. And that's what a real man does. That's a warrior. So a warrior takes the pain, takes the punishment. Because he wants to learn from it. He wants to be reminded that that was the wrong way to go. That's a warrior's heart. That's why you read the book of Proverbs 28 when it says righteous is bold as a lion, brother. That's not talking about being stupid and just jumping off, into the damn fire like a fool. No, bold means that I can handle, whatever it is I need to handle. If I'm wrong, I can accept the fact that I'm wrong and I can do something about it. I'm willing to do something about it. That's boldness. Cowards just make up excuses. Remember when Yahuwah, when Samuel came to Saul and asked Saul, why didn't he do what he was instructed to do in the book of 1 Samuel chapter 15, what did Saul do? Saul didn't accept any response. He started blaming everybody. He said the people did it. It was this, it was that. The one person he didn't say was him. That's what cowards do. They never accept responsibility when they're in error. Hell, they don't even think they can err. But see, the bold, they're different. The bold are like King David. When David, his act of contrition in the book of Psalms 51, David said, I sinned against, he said, I ain't sinned against no man, I sinned against you, Yahuwah, and you is who I. He said in 1 Samuel, 1 Samuel, 2 Samuel. 2 Samuel. Yeah, 2 Samuel chapter 12, I believe it is. Don't hold me to it, but I think that's where it is. And David is contrite big time when he gets called out for his sin. David don't get in there and start talking about what he shouldn't have been naked. He should have went in there and, did what I told him to do, talking about Uriah. He don't do all that. He like, nah, I own this. But I'm going to do something about it. I ain't gonna just own it. I'm gonna accept it and I'm gonna fix it. But that's not the nature of most of our brothers and sisters. That's not the nature of Israel. Again, most of Israel is like King Saul, blaming somebody else. Ahab, whining and complaining when he knows he's a dead dog wrong, but he still want to whine and complain about what he can't have. And it wasn't rightfully his in the first place. Making excuses. The government owed me something. I'm an American too. When? Where? How? When? Where? How? And I'm listening too. And if you're stupid enough to think a birth certificate is your, official American, validation, then you better you need to be over here for real. You should be over here anyway, but you need to go to some kind of re-education camp. That's what needs to happen, if that's what you believe. You might want to go read the Missouri Compromise, 1850. Supreme Court Justice Taney, see what he had to say about you, black man. Just saying that, Israel, man. Just saying, see what he said about you in regards to white men. And again, daughters of Zion, same thing applies to you. I think you know that, but I just have to say it. Because there are times I think that the daughters of Zion, you sit there, on your, tutu, as one of the sisters call it. You sit on your tutu and you listen to everything, but you don't do anything either. You're just as bad as the men. You just listen and that's it. Everything for you is a question, always questioning something. Why can't you just be obedient? Just do what you're asked. Sometimes Yahuwah is testing to see if you can be obedient. And some of you are, praise Yahuwah. You know who you are. But then there's another group out there, it's always questions. Why? So paranoid. You to help, sister. You're put here to be a blessing and help to the men, not to drill them. I'm talking about the righteous man. I'm not talking about no wicked, effeminate, tender, delicate man, who can't keep his hand off of things that's not his. I ain't talking about him. I ain't talking about the one who got excuses for everything. I ain't talking about him. I ain't talking about Mr. Almost or Gone To. When I get time, I ain't talking about him. I'm not talking about Mr. Let me think about it. I ain't talking about him. I'm talking about soldiers, warriors, men of war. And I'll say this to you again, daughters of Zion. It's time to get your eyes, out of the clouds, the head out of the clouds, and I need to understand your safety, your life, your self-worth is on the line. But stop valuing yourself in how long your weave is, and if you can get your nails done every week. That has a zero net gain. That means absolutely nothing. I'm talking about in a scheme of whether or not your life will be destroyed or your life can be taken or you can be physically harmed in ways you can't even imagine, although some of you have very good imagination. Some of you have been through a thing or two. I'm telling you, you don't know what's coming. And them 4 walls you live in is not going to stop it from coming either. I said it to you again. You need to get with a righteous man or men, humble enough to acquisition to whatever role you need to be in that group of righteous men and be good with it. And be done with the whole system of things. I don't care what my mama told me. I don't care about what I learned in the school that taught me about somebody else and not about me. I don't care about none of that. I don't care about what my BBF, best girlfriend or whatever it is, whatever they call it. I don't care about none of them. I'm done with all that. You better get your mind right. You better get yourself together. While there's still a shofar blowing. The shofar indicates, again, that Yahuwah is with that people. It's a sign that Yahuwah is with us against the enemy. And he doesn't stand with someone who's in rebellion. Doing the rebellion is not the fact that you say, well, I believe, Elder. I do all the things you say, Elder. Then why are you sitting over there by yourself? It's like Samuel told Saul, well, what's this noise I hear in my ear then if you did everything? Saul. Again, you can read about it, 1 Samuel chapter 15. Saul blaming people, Saul lying, Saul making up every kind of story. And Saul lost it all. Ultimately became a pagan, an idolater. Lost his life for it too, by the way. Things that's right here in the book to teach us to learn. There's nothing in this book that's not in this book that is written in this book that's not here. Everything here is to teach us, is what I'm saying. There's nothing in this book that's here just, for show, for entertainment purposes. This is a life lesson book. That's why it's a living document. I say it to you all the time. Why you shouldn't be following anyone that Yahuwah did not call, because they will never teach it as a living document. They'll teach it as science fiction, talking about fallen angels, and they'll teach it as history about King James was black, or they'll teach it in terms of just, metaphorically, Jesus came back and he died for your sins. That's a metaphor. But that shit damn sure ain't true. Or you can come and get a real education with information that'll show you how to survive when that fire comes. Show you how to survive when that water starts to rise. The Trump administration the other day gave the pharmaceutical companies, Big Pharma, $92 billion that America supposedly didn't have. But of course it has, because many of you still paying into it. $92 billion, brothers and sisters. Why Congress was what do you call that? Whatever. The government shut down. Didn't stop him from paying off his cronies. We'll get some more vaccines out here, is what he said. For who? Not for the ones Yahuwah is protecting, because he's going to protect them. The rest, I guess, So there's something you don't want to lose that they can get you, to threaten you with. They can get you to pay into their government system while they enrich their coffers and build your coffers. If you can't afford to, you too afraid to stop doing that, I know getting so damn well when they threaten everything else that you love, you're going to do exactly what they tell you to do. If that means doing this, you know what I'm saying, and that, and pulling it on up, you're going to stick it out there. You're going to hit right there. And you're going to do it. You're going to do it, sister. Why you playing? You can't let them take my baby. Well, if you'd have been with us, they wouldn't have taken your baby. How about that? But again, something to think about. Seriously think about. All these actions are for a reason. All this planning and plotting is coming to fruition. Everything you fear is going to come in, and everything you thought was a game, you're going to realize it wasn't a game. Everything you thought, well, I ain't worrying about that, I'll deal with that when I deal with it, you're all going to deal with it. Just like you said, life and death is in the power of the tongue. Well, I'll just die. You know, they're going to add a little special, something, to your dying, right? They ain't just let you just, suffer peacefully. They got something special for you. These are masochistic devils. I talked about this a couple of weeks ago. Listen to some devil dude said when they hang up Israelite man, they see what they do. Oh, they hang him. They tie him up, and they ram a barbed wire broomstick up his rectum, and they tie it one hand where he can't get loose, and then let the other hand be loose, and they leave him out in the woods. They come back a few days when he's done, but they challenge him to pull the barbed wire out of his, rectum. So he might get past that first barbed wire, but he ain't gonna get to the second one. And why do I bring that up? I'm sure you brothers and sisters, you're sitting over there talking about, you don't mind dying for the cause, your cause, whatever you think, you think you can handle. I don't know if you know how wicked these people can be. I don't think you really understand who your enemy, or what better said, I don't think you really understand what your enemy is capable of doing. Y'all seen this book, and I show it every now and then just to remind you, called Without Sanctuary. And inside this book, one of the first pages in this book, but I ain't got to go to the first page, I'll go to this page. Let's turn right to it. See what's going on here? Can y'all see that? On the one side, there's a man hanging. On the other side, there's a woman hanging. See her? Right from the bridge. You see all those spectators up there looking down at her? Obviously, they ain't trying to cut the rope, are they? Daughters of Zion. I'm just saying. Because, see, we have a tendency to think our enemy is you. You do a whole lot of talking, but you don't back up your talk. On the other hand, they don't do a lot of talking. They just do the doing. They're waiting for you to do the talking, so they know exactly which one they're gonna do which to. So all these little Instagram, content creators, females, you all made up, you all pretty, you dolled up, and you just looking so good. Yeah, they're gonna come looking for you, in particular you. She had a whole lot to say. I wonder who's going to protect her. Well, she got a man, but he ain't going to do nothing. If he was a man, he wouldn't have his woman on the YouTube platform talking. He would understand, baby, you can't be out there with all that stuff. You're out of your mind. How people look. And the other one said, well, that's why I hide behind the camera. Well, that don't mean they don't know where you live. There's a such thing called the internet of all things, right? Come on, you don't have an IP address? Seriously? Come on now. They know who they are. And they know who you are. But see, everything is a game till it's not a game. Everything is innocent until it's not innocent. Everything is harmless until it's not harmless. And everybody trying to scare you until you get scared for real. And then you start wondering, why didn't somebody warn me? Well, they did warn you. You said they were trying to scare you. They did tell you that talking about I'm going to do better is not the same thing. See, there's a behavior within this people that they just think, as long as I admit it, it's good enough. Let's see. Let's see if you're right. Because now we got to go, we've been in the book, but we're going to go deep into the book. All right? Let's see what we got. Hallelujah. But again, don't forget what I said in the beginning of this message. Tell me about a battle that Israel won without Yahuwah. All right? Excuse my glasses. They look bigger than my eyes. But hey, I got to see. Hallelujah. But you need to hear. Let's go look at a king of Judah by the name of Asa. Let's go to 2 Chronicles chapter 16. And just for reference purposes, hallelujah. You know what? Give me 1 second, Joshua. Be right back. Hopefully you've done the message up already, but if you haven't, please do. Well, you should anyway. Whether you do or not, I guess that's up to you, right? Hallelujah, brothers and sisters. Now, let me get this right. Hallelujah. Thank you. But here's the backstory on King Asa. King Asa of Judah was him and Baasha, king of Israel, were in conflict with one another. And inside of their conflict, King Asa decided that he would go and make a covenant with an outside nation of people to help him fight against his own brethren. I said brethren, not brother, but brethren. You know, Judah fighting against Israel is brothers fighting against brothers. We're all the same people. Different tribes, but the same people. And so now Yahuwah is judging Asa for the mistake that he made by trusting in the heathen system for protection. Let's read. 2 Chronicles chapter 16, verse 1. In the 6th and 30th year of the reign of Baasha, king of Yashar, king of Israel, came up against Judah and built Ramah, and to the intent that he might let none go out or come in to Asa, the king of Judah. So he built a wall. No pun intended. Then Asa brought out silver and gold out the treasures of the house of Yahuwah and of the king's house, and he sent it to Ben-Hadad, the king of Aram. More than likely Arabs, Muslims. Damn sure not serving Yahuwah. Heathen nation. That dwelt in Damascus, saying, let there be a league between you and me, as there was between my father and your father. See, this treachery inside of Yahshua go way back. Malcolm X talked about it when he talked about the house nigger and the field nigger. How the house nigger was ranting and telling everything about those who were working out in the field. This goes way back, this infighting and this treachery among our people. And yet you have many of our people talking about, let's get together in brotherhood. If we just unify, we can do. Maybe you ought to read the book before you go on your Negro pep rallies. Because that's all you can get is a bunch of Negroes in there. Talking that kind of talk. I ain't getting rid of nobody. Yahuwah is the center and the foundation for which anything this elder is going to be a part of. You can believe that. If you're not following Yahuwah, you don't want to follow this Torah to the letter as he says we should. And I know there's some things we don't have to do anymore. If you're not doing this, you can count me out. Period. I wish I would. Would never happen. You're going to die over there with them fools. You know what I'm saying? No honor among thieves. So you're just going to get with them because y'all saying melanin? You have to be really, really ignorant in the word. But again, people destroy for lack of knowledge, right, brothers and sisters? So I guess I should not be so, so demonstrative in my saying, but what else can I say? Our people getting slaughtered like poop going through a goose, and you got these pep rally idiots. Like war ain't real. Like this book, prophecies are not coming through in real time right now. These un-American Israelite Americans. Again, paying into your own destruction. Again, Hagar, putting money in bags with holes in it. Hagar, let's go there. I'm coming back. And I'm not going to do a lot of this because I know some of y'all are like, well, Elder, can we get through it? No. Hope you used to being told no. You need to learn how to be told no every now and then. No. You're going to follow Yahuah's lead, not yours. Look what it says in the book of Haggai, chapter 1, verse 3. Then came the word of Yahuwah by Haggai the prophet, talking to the prophet again, saying, it is, verse 4, is it time for you, O you, to dwell in your suburban houses, your nice homes, and this house, talking about his house, lies in waste? So you're putting all your money, all your resources in your stuff, but what about Yahuah's stuff, is what he's saying here. This is why when Asa went over there, he got treasures out Yahuah's house and out his own house. How did he get treasure in Yahuah's house? Because the people supported them. It weren't like so many of our people today. They'll go throw it over there to Marvin Winans who tell you to get in this $2,000 line. And nobody got nothing to say about that, or they just in the bag talking about it. And why you ain't calling out your grandma, or your mama, your uncle, and your cousin, all of them that in these churches that he's a part of? He ain't the only one. So I don't know why you're going to single him out, not single out your pastor. Just as wicked and guilty. I guarantee you, he ain't in that church speaking against no Marvin Winans. I bet he ain't saying nothing about Marvin Winans this past Sunday. See, our people need to wake up. This ain't no one-man thing. This is a cabal. They're all working together against you, against our interests for the government. One of the things that Winans said when he got called out for that folly, well, we just trying to do something. By the way, Tyler Perry sent me $100,000 last week. Tyler Perry sent Marvin Winans $100,000. He's in religion. Tyler Perry is in entertainment, right? Tyler Perry goes around dressed like a transgender, is a homosexual. That ain't allegedly. He's from New Orleans. We know about him. Getting sued for that stuff. Some of y'all already know this stuff. But how is him and Marvin Winans the best of friends? Thought Winans was a Pentecostal preacher, Holy Ghost preacher, speaking in tongues. Acts 2:38 preacher. It's all a big, circus, brothers and sisters. Just a big charade. But it's real to the people, the parishioners. It's real. It's like the Catholic Church, like I said earlier in this message. I was raised Catholic, pedophiles. The Protestant churches, everything under the sun, homosexuality to adulterers to thieves, wolves, you know what I'm saying? Gangsayers. I'm talking, you got a little bit of everything going on in that damn thing. In Islam, like I said before, toothless tigers. Only defend their own brothers in Islam from against it, what they call the heathens. But they be respected. Allah Akbar. My ass. In these little passive-aggressive camps. They marching through the streets. Purple and gold, here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Jesus is a hoe. Well, Jesus ain't real, so I guess he's not a hoe. Neither is Yahuah'S, but he was called a whoremonger in their book. And what he was, I don't get mad at me and a drunkard. But they don't care about those kind of things, because that's who they are. You, by the other hand, I was professed not to be, so why are you still there? Why you got something to say? See, I'm saying somebody because I ain't a part of it, and I'm supposed to call it out. But anyway, they don't have no problem building up the heathen churches. And this is what he's saying. He said, why haven't you? He said, you build up your stuff, but you forget Yahuah's stuff. Now, therefore, verse 5, Haggai 1 and 5, now, therefore, says Yahuah, consider your ways. So you have so much but you bring in little. So you're not paying attention that it's not working for you, Israel? He said you eat, but you don't have enough. He said you're not realizing, brothers, it's not working for you. You drink, but you're still not filled with drink. So you don't realize yet that what you're doing is not working for you. You clothe you, but you're still not warm. Don't realize it's not working for you yet, Israel? And then he goes on to say why. He said, he that earns money, earns wages, and put it into bags with holes in it. That's taxation without representation. That's exactly what Sister Maria, Brother Cameron, Sister Ao have been talking about, and me. And some of you don't want to hear nothing about that at all, and you know you don't want to hear nothing about that. Like Malcolm said, you love the master more than the master loves himself. While you trusting in Yahuwah with all of your heart. Now tell me that's not a walking contradiction. When it comes down to following this elder, this leader, I don't put no trust in men. But when it comes down to government, you trust them that they're going to take you to jail if you don't do what they told you to do. I said, right, you trust, that was bad. You trust that they're going to take you to jail if you don't follow their instructions, their laws, their tax laws. Come April 15, you make sure you got yours done. But they don't pay taxes. What Trump said, I don't pay no taxes. But you do. What the book says, you say, elder, doesn't the book say you should pay your debt? Yeah, Israel to Israel. You say, nothing about no goddamn heathen. We don't charge interest on Israel. And we don't, if we have a debt to pay in Israel, we pay it. But when it comes down to these goddamn heathen, y'all don't give a damn on how we interact with them, just like they don't give a damn on how they interact with us. They're gods. Every kind of Ponzi scheme called insurance out there, they do. Every type of pyramid taxation without representation out there, they damn sure do. Giving your money to the pharmaceutical companies, giving your money to the militaries, and all these doggone people put in place to hurt and harm you. But you don't seem to have nothing to say about giving to them. That's interesting. And if you do have something to say something, you don't change your behavior. And this is what it said right here. Look, thus says Yahuwah, verse 7, consider your ways. But it means what? Change your behavior. Why are you still doing this stuff? You can read the rest of that. He will tell you that the reason why you're not being blessed because of the stuff you're doing. Not him. He says it's on us. Stuff you refuse to do. That doesn't come down to the work of Yahuwah. You don't have nothing to do with that. But let's come back over here to Asa. Let's pick back up on 16 and 2. But I just wanted to say the book's over there telling you're paying into a system, brothers and sisters, when you use their tax laws or they use their tax laws and rules, their judicial system, and etc. These people, I'll give you an example. And y'all know how I feel about these politics. I don't care about no damn Trump. I don't care nothing about no Obama. I don't care nothing about. I guarantee, as far as I'm concerned, they can jump in a ring of fire with gasoline draws on it. And I wouldn't give a shit. And I wouldn't pee on them to put the fire out. That's what I think about it. So I'm just making myself perfectly clear. But truth is still truth. This man has charged, whether he's guilty or not, doesn't matter. He got charged with 34 felonies. And ain't spent one day in jail, and nobody took his passport. Chauncey Billups, those guys got caught, they got caught being a part of, mafia gambling rings. And one of the things they did, Chauncey Billups, used to play for the Pistons, Mr. Big Shot. Y'all remember, some of you sports fans, y'all know exactly what I'm talking about. They took his passport, so you ain't going nowhere. They took his goddamn passport. R. Kelly, they took all their passports. But Donald Trump, they ain't take his passport. Donald Trump fly all over the world. He just came out of Asia. I think he's in Asia right now. Why didn't he got 34 felonies and they didn't take his passport? 34 felonies. But he still can go anywhere he wants to go. But they're going to tell you, the system works. The system is fair. The system is equitable. White folk ain't cheating. Serious? Isn't that like an oxymoron? How do you say oxymoron? White folk ain't cheating? Shit. Are you serious? But there you go, Mr. Good Boy, Mr. Good Girl, let me get in here and pay my taxes. And then complain about being broke. Well, stop putting money in bags with holes in it then. Stop supporting your enemy voluntarily. Willingly is what I'm saying. There are some situations that we have no choice because we need to use certain services that they provide. But other than that, why are you doing it? But back to 2 Chronicles chapter 16, verse 3. And this is Asa talking to the heathen king. He said, there is a league between me and you, and there's a league between my father and your father. Behold, I have sent you silver and gold, putting money in bags with holes in it, paying it to the heathen system. Break your league with the king of Basha, that he may depart from me. So he's saying, I need you to help me destroy my own people. Can you say Al Sharpton? Can you say Jesse Jackson? Lee Merritt? Louis Farrakhan? Charles Dow? Bishop Nathaniel? Apostle Sahur? Can you say those names? Many, many others. Those are the ones. Jason Black, Tariq Nasheed, Yvette Cornell, all of them. Byron Allen. Come on, keep going. Mr. Little Devils on CNN? The one that be crying all the time with the glasses. Can't think of his name. The one that Jeff Bezos, I believe, gave some money to. Y'all know what I'm talking about. And don't put his name. I don't want to see. I don't need to know his name. I'm just telling you they're there. All over the place. Joy Reid, they're all there. Oprah Winfrey, Whoopi, Tyler Perry, Steve Harvey, LeBron James. We have to keep on going. Your uncle, your cousin, your auntie, your mayor, your governor, your congressman. How far do we need to go? Because the treachery runs deep, deep, deep. The treachery. And because most of our people are walking in stupor, they don't, dumpty, dumpty, dump, 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 dump. Here in the clouds. All hell about to break loose and they ain't paying attention. You are, praise Yahuwah. I know you're paying attention to what you're doing. That's a whole nother story, right? Listening and doing is not the same thing. 2 Chronicles 16:4. And Ben-Hadad hearkened to the voice of King Asa. Of course, the enemy going to side up against Israel. And sent the captains of his armies against the cities of Yasharel. And they're about to do it again. And they smote Alan. Smote means kill, fought. Dan, tribe of Dan. And Abiam. And the store cities of Naphtali. Another one of our brothers. Judah using the heathen to attack the rest of Israel. Ain't that a bitch? But nothing new. There's nothing new under the sun, though. Because how many of our people jumping upon the Haitians and jumping on the Jamaicans and while I'm thinking about it, you see that little hurricane that's going through Jamaica right now? Did y'all notice what I've been saying? How they're using high altitude aerodynamic, what do they call that? Forgot. Something programs. Okay. But did you notice that the storm was going west, and then they stopped the storm in its tracks, and now the storm is turning just like that and going back out to the Atlantic. They did it all year long. All summer long, all hurricane season they've been doing it. Now, unfortunately for Jamaica, you melon, they don't give a shit about you guys. So y'all gonna get it. I don't know how much you're gonna get, but y'all the sacrificial lambs. Y'all love them heathens too. We see y'all on them islands out there. Can't take your eyes off that white flesh. But that's what they think about your country, Jamaicans. Just turn the hurricane right up on you. to save themselves. This stuff is real. People think it's a game. It's not. It's only a game until it come to your house. Then when all of a sudden when the real trouble comes, the real debt, the real, killers and murderers and rapers and thieves come knocking on your door, then you're going to take this serious. And like I said before, you should have long ago listened. Many of you, I've been warning you time and time again, especially you daughters of Zion. I don't care what your age is. When they come, they don't care if you fat, skinny, light skin, or dark skin. All they care is you female. And if something happens, you own it because you were warned. You need to get out here with those of us who are like-minded, who are prepared with Yahuah's blessing to fight. He's a man of war. His name is Yahuah. You heard me say it already. But he don't fight for nobody but the righteous remnant. When we're in total obedience, he fights alongside us. Otherwise, he opts out. He said, nah, it's on you. You think you can do it without me? Then prove it. That's what Yahuah says. Prove it. I ain't saying I can do it without you. Well, you are saying it when you don't keep these commandments. You are saying it when you don't follow direction. When you can't be corrected, you can't be told what to do and you do it. You always got to talk back or something to say. Or like I say, a million reasons why. Just like Saul. It's why. Why don't you just do? I had a couple of examples over the last couple of days, and I would say, and I would, truth be told, and the people who I'm talking about, you know who I'm talking about. I ain't gonna get into nothing beyond that. But I asked them to do a particular thing, and they all did it. I was so proud of them. Different things, different circumstances, but they did it. We talked about temptations and tests. As a leader, you better test who it is you're supposed to be leading to make sure they're following. And they can take orders, take instruction. And it was a pleasure to see that type of, willingness to follow directions. A couple of them kind of asked a little bit, but once I said, nah, just please, done. End of story. This is very necessary if you plan to be protected. You have to be able to follow orders. And when you don't, you're in rebellion. And you're not going to be protected. Yah sends the men, he sent a man, he's going to send a prophet to warn you. Yah ain't going to come and tell you, well, we know Yahuah to tell you. He sent me to tell you. What are you talking about? He sent Samuel to tell Saul. He sent Nathan to tell David. He sent Moses to tell Pharaoh. He sent Moses to tell the people. He sent Jeremiah, Ezekiel to tell. It's like, the stupor. He'll be back to the stupor again. Yahuah doesn't change. That's you with all that foolishness. He's listening to you. No, he's not. Don't listen to you when you're obedient. Proverbs 28:9 tells us clearly, he said, you don't follow the directions, then I don't hear your prayers. That's what the Torah is for. And a part of the Torah, I'm going to put prophets among you from amongst your brother, and him you listen to. I'm going to put your king over you. Don't follow the ways of the heathen. Follow their ways. I sent them. What did the men tell Joshua in Joshua chapter 1? We will follow you as you follow Moses. Only keep on following Yahuah. Say, wherever you tell us to do, we're going to do it. They didn't say, well, who are you, Joshua? They said, no. You the leader, we following you, period. Anybody that don't follow you, we're going to kill them, period. That's Joshua chapter 1. Start reading verse 13 on down. You'll get there. And said, lead the women. He told the other, Gad and Reuben, said, you lead the women and children behind. put them in a safe place. But you men, y'all fighting. But most of these men in Israel, they want to be home with the women folk. Let me see what my wife say first. Ahab's. Let's pick it back up. Verse 5. And it came to pass when Baasha heard it, that he left all building Ramah, and he left his work ease. Talking about the king of Yashrael. And Asa took all of Judah, and he carried away the stones of Ramah and the timber thereof, and wherewith Baasha was building, he built where it Geba and Mizpah. And at that time, Hananiah the seer came to Asa, king of Judah, and he said to him, because you have relied on the king of Aram, heathens, and not relied on Yahuwah, trusting in the heathen system instead of trusting Yahuwah's prophets in his word, therefore is the host of the king of Aram escaped out of your hand. He said, I would have defeated your enemy for you. Were not Cush, those heathens, Cushites, Canaanites, Luban, after all the other ites, a huge host with very many chariots and horsemen, talking about big armies. See, yet because you did rely on Yahuwah, he delivered them into your hand. See, he said, when we put our trust in Yahuwah, brothers and sisters, he said, he'll make our enemies our footstools. But he said, but we have to be obedient and put our trust in Yahuwah. Again, when you're putting and you're investing into the heathen system of oppression, how do you think you're not going to get oppressed? That's exactly what Hannah was saying. What are you thinking? And you know what you're thinking. Most of it, you're afraid. This is why you won't come out of the system. This is why you won't journal with this watchman, this is why you won't do anything. I understand why. I just don't know if you understand the consequences. And I know you might say you do, but I don't think you really understand the consequences. I'm warning you. Yahuwah is warning you. He's telling you fire coming, disease is coming, plagues are coming, famine is coming, cannibalism is coming, zombies are coming, your enemies are coming, the rapists are coming, the ravagers are coming, the wolves are coming, the wild dogs. He's telling you everything that's coming. Why aren't you listening? How are you saying you trust him, but you're not doing what he says? Well, the rare few of us, and I mean a very, very, very small amount of us are doing what he says. And the rest are just talking. But thinking there's not going to be any consequences for your ineptitude. Your degree ain't going to save you. Your job ain't going to save you. Your husband who don't love Yahuwah is not going to save you. Your wife who run around here looking at everything but your ass, except when she wants something, ain't going to save you. And these wicked children you won't let go, they ain't going to save you either. This word through obedience is where your refuge is. But then, don't listen to me. You'll wish you had. Those of you who are not listening. Look what it goes on to say here. Verse 9. See, many of you are familiar with this verse. What it says, for the eyes of Yahuwah run to and fro throughout the whole earth to show himself strong on behalf of those whose heart is perfect towards him. How many of y'all heard that? See, many of us heard that verse of scripture and it's a round. You know, and I've used it that way too, like a war cry. The eyes of Yahuwah go throughout the whole earth, to show self strong and heart, though on behalf of the hearts of those who are perfect before him. The eyes of Yahuwah go throughout the whole earth, show self strong to those whose hearts are perfect towards him. The eyes of Yahuwah go throughout the whole earth, showing himself strong to those whose hearts are perfect towards him. Yeah, your heart is totally imperfect towards him. You don't trust him. You trust men. You trust yourself. Or you don't trust nobody, even worse. Because look how the rest of that this verse finishes. Herein you have done foolishly. Therefore, from henceforth, you're going to have wars. Like you told David, when you did what you did, David, now you know you're going to have wars in your house. Behind the whole thing with Uriah. Here it is, he's telling Asa, now you're going to have nothing but wars, Asa. And this is the prophet telling this to Asa. This is the prophet talking to the king. Then Asa was angry with the seer and put him in prison. For he was enraged with him because of this thing. What thing? Because he told him the truth. And I say this to you, my brothers and sisters, if you think for 1 second people are not going to get mad at you for telling the truth, then you need to walk a mile in my shoes. I can assure you they will get pissed at you for telling them the truth. Not all of them, but most of them will. There's always that righteous remnant who will accept it and do better. But the vast majority, you can become their enemy. So prepare yourself. So he threw the man in prison. Verse 11. And behold, the acts of Asa first and last, lo, are they not written in the cipher of the kings of Judah and Israel? And Asa, in the 39th year of his reign, was diseased in his feet. Y'all didn't let him get away with it. Y'all gave him foot disease. Truth be told, he gave him gangrene in the feet. Was diseased in his feet until the disease was exceedingly great. And he sought not Yahuwah, but the doctors to heal him. That's a moment of reflection, isn't it? Who are you seeking to heal you? And why? Because your heart is perfect towards Yahuwah, then you know he will heal you. But if it isn't, you're going to be looking for alternatives. Because you can't trust him like that. Most can. Few can. It's funny, brothers and sisters, I could stop right here and start talking about people who can. And it's going to be the same people that have always been talking about this. It's kind of interesting. It's like we have all things in common. The ones who trust him, they ain't going to let nobody put their hands on them. That's not assigned by Yahuwah. They're going to follow directions. They're going to support the work. It's the same people. It's the same people. That shows you Yahuwah's perfection of that heart. It's the same people. I can give you. If I was to say who the people who don't trust in a physician but trust in Yahuwah, they're going to be the same people I've been talking about with everything else. Who opt out of the tax system, who can follow direction, who love Yahshua, who respect the direction from this elder. It'd be the same people. People support the, it'd be the same people. And all the other ones are doing all that other stuff, but claiming they love as much as these people do. And there's no deception like self-deception. You can't be between two opinions, brothers. So you got to be all the way in or you all the way out. Period. God does not compromise. You don't make covenants with wickedness. So that sin will die. How many times we have to say that? The soul that sins is going to die. So that means he don't make no covenant with you when you reject him by doing what you want to do. That goes for any of us. Here's another king of Judah going down. Ahab went down, Saul went down, Asa went down. Say what? He went to the physician couldn't help him. And then what did it say, 13? And Asa slept with his fathers and died in the 140th year of his reign. And they buried him in a sepulchre, which he had made for himself in the city of David, and laid him in a bed, which was filled with sweet odors, diverse kinds of spices. And that was the end of him. For compromising with heathens, for going against Yahuwah's prophet. He said, touch not my anointed. What did Psalms 105:15 say? Touch not my anointed, do my prophet no harm. What did he do? He threw the prophet in prison. What do many of you do out there when you don't want to hear the truth? You attack me by your own, what you call prison. YouTube prison is the YouTube, when they suspend your channel. That's YouTube jail. But many of you unsubscribe, or you won't thumb up the video, you won't come back, you know that kind of stuff. So you're just as guilty as they are. You're just doing what's in your hand, the power you have in your hand. Like he had the power to put the man in prison, you got the power not to thumb up or thumb it down or unsubscribe or whatever, not share. But you're doing the same thing, just so you know. It's a difference without a distinction. You're just using what's you're just using what's in your means to do it. And then you got that righteous remnant over there. You're going to do what's right because right is right, and you don't care. Even if you get hit, you still are going to accept it and do better behind it. And you're the one that's righteous. That's righteous behavior. But can we go one more example? So we talked about Asa. We talked about behavior. We talked about accountability. We talked about, I said earlier, 2 kings. You got one, Asa, rebellious. Instead of him accepting the correction, he wants to go on the attack. Now he wants to play the victim. Nobody understand my situation. That stuff. Well, I rebuke that to interview. If that's a part of you, rebuke that spirit. That's a demon. Yahuwah understands everything. Otherwise, how could he say his eyes go out through the whole earth looking? And when he's looking to give you the wisdom to understand and to solve these things, but he's never going to do it for you if you're questioning and doubting yourself. And I'm not talking about arrogance and pride. I'm talking about submission and obedience. If you want to see his power, you have to be submissive and you have to be obedient. And in between, contrite. Otherwise, again, you playing games. And you so-called righteous heathens, you too. You're not getting away with any of that. And all the talk about doing better is not the same thing as doing it. Talk is talk. Let's go over to First Chronicles. Yeah, let's go over to First Chronicles, chapter 22. We're just in Second Chronicles. Hallelujah. '21. All right. First Chronicles, chapter 21. Hallelujah. Now check this out, brothers and sisters. Hallelujah. And Satan stood up against Yasharal and provoked David to number Israel. And David said to Joab and the rulers of the people, go number Yasharal from Beersheba even unto Dan, and bring the number of them to me that I may know it. Now, if you notice, Satan tempted David. He didn't make David do it. He tempted David to do it. And you might say, well, what's the problem? Because, see, when David decided to count the people, he was not trusting Yahuwah. It's like, again, when you decide to trust the system, the government of this earth, then you're not trusting Yahuwah. And see, that's what happens is that Satan will put the idea in your mind, well, you better do this, or put that fear in you. If you don't do that, this is going to happen to you. Where if you had just stopped and reflect on it, and you would have been in a learning environment, as we have here, and reaching out for counsel. A wise man surrounds himself with wise counsel. Iron sharpens iron like a brother sharpens the countenance of his friend. Had you been doing those things, guess what? Your decision making would have been improved probably by 1,000%. What did Proverbs 4 and 7 say? Wisdom is the principal thing. Of Proverbs chapter 4 from 1 through 7 talks about wisdom, but it said, long story short, he said, wisdom is the principal thing, but with all your wisdom, get an understanding. So you can have a whole bunch of knowledge, but if you don't know the application of how to utilize that knowledge, then it's worth nothing to you. You're just putting knowledge power into bags with holes in it. So a lot of our people think they're so smart. I'm investing. I read Rich Man, Poor Man, and I read Robert Sakiachi, whatever that nigga name is, the Asian devil. And he told me how to invest my money. Well, they didn't come back and tell us what happened when they lost all that money they invested, did they? Showed them how to buy that $15 million home. But they didn't tell you when the $15 million home was foreclosed. See, they didn't talk about that part. How to buy my Bentley. They didn't tell you about the part where that Bentley got repossessed. They didn't talk about that part. But see, this is the foolishness and the folly of man, especially Israel. They were quick to tell you about all these great things, but see, when, how you say, the day of reckoning comes, when Yahuwah pulled back that veil and said, nah, you're a demon, you trust the devil, so you're a devil too, then all of a sudden they're quiet as a church mouse pissing on cotton, as they say. They ain't got nothing to say. Shh, don't tell nobody. No, we're going to tell it. Yeah, we're going to cry loud. We ain't sparing you. But that's what happened when you trust in men. David was trusting in, now David is trusting in his army instead of trusting in Yahuwah. Yahuwah told David, don't worry, I can deliver with many just like I can deliver with a few. We got the stories of Gideon. We got many stories. We got, when Simeon and Levi went and killed 600 of them heathens for putting their hands on Diana, their sister. We got Abraham, who had 70 men and fought 5 kings and kicked their behinds to get Lot back, his nephew. Story after story, when Yahuwah fights with Israel, we win. Story after story, when we abandon Israel, we lose. Jehoshaphat and Ahab, remember that story. Jehoshaphat was running, remember, he wasn't winning that victory. He ran, Yah spared him. But his trust in Ahab almost got himself killed. Again, Saul going to the witch. Didn't go to battle, Yah kill him. Ahab, same thing, got killed in his chariot. Well, I just talked about it a moment ago. You ain't winning without Yahuwah. You ain't getting redeemed without being obedient. You forget that. Not going to happen. Verse 4, nevertheless, the king's word prevailed against Joab. Where Joab departed. Well, let's go back. Verse 3. And Joab answered, again, 2 Chronicles 21, verse 3. David's telling him to go count the people. Joab is trying to give him counsel. And Joab answered, Yahuwah made his people 100 times so many as more as they be. But my lord, the king, are they all not the Lord's servants? Why then does my Lord require this thing? Why will he be a cause to trespass of Yasharel? And he's saying, Yahuwah has blessed you, David. We've been winning like crazy. Why are we going to change up? Let's keep on trusting him. We're over here with you, the DFG family. We ain't going nowhere. We're going to stay right there. We've been winning and we ain't leaving. We're going to stay right there. And I don't care what anybody got to say about it. This is what he's saying. He said, what are you doing, master? Nevertheless, the king's word prevailed against Joab. David was in charge. So he said, well, you the boss. So and I may not necessarily disagree, but I'm going to do what you tell me. And I ain't going around telling everybody about it either. I'm just going to do it. At the end of the day, I'm a soldier. And you're a man of war. David was Psalm 144, what David said, the strength of you who teaches my hands to war, my fingers to fight. David was a warrior. Joab was a warrior. Warriors follow instruction. Soldiers follow instruction. Now, if you're a high-ranking soldier, your opinion might be, solicited. If you're a high-ranking soldier, maybe you can, advise the king. But you don't have the right to challenge him. Not without consequences. History should teach you that. Who made you king? Yahuwah made me king. Where's your castle? I don't know. Where's yours? Because you know everything. Surely you should be king too then. That's how you got to respond to idiots, brothers and sisters. You just got to just rhetorical. Just say, look, just go do what you want to do. Why are you over here messing around? Go do what you're going to do. You know you're going to do it anyway. Are you trying to pretend like you care? You know you don't. But one thing, be sure your sin will find you out, sister, brother. You ain't escaping Yahuwah's judgment. But nevertheless, the king's word prevailed against Joab. Wherefore Joab departed and went throughout all Israel, and he came to Jerusalem. And Joab gave the sum of the number of the people unto David. And all they of Jerusalem, of Yasharel, were 1,000,000 and 400,000 men that drew the sword. And in Judah was 460,000 men that drew the sword. So somewhere between 1,100,000 and something right in that number, over 1,000,000. But Levi and Benjamin counted he not among them, for the king's word was abominable to Joab. To Joab said, now he knows Yahuwah said not to do that. He said, so I'm not going to mess with Levi and Benjamin, but I'm still not going to buck him. So I'm not going to be rebellious. That's what he's actually saying. He said, but I know these over here, these are the learned, this is the high priest. You don't touch them. These are the intercessors on our behalf. These are the special ones. He's talking about, in that case, Benjamin and Levi. So I'm not messing with them too. Verse 7, and Elohim was displeased with this thing, and therefore he smote Yasharel. Yahuwah was angry that David had done this thing. Because again, it's like same thing with us. Yahuwah said, do not trust in yourself. Trust in me. He said, trust in me with all your heart. Lean not to your own understanding. In all your ways acknowledge me, Yahuwah. And he said, then I'll direct your path. I'll let you see who to follow. I'll let you see who I put in charge. I'll let you see my strength. I will put my hedge of protection around you. It'll be a shield for you in times of trouble. I will lead you to where you need to be safe. I won't leave you out there for the wolves to devour and eat and slaughter and massacre. But none of that happens if you can't follow direction. I'm not coming where you are, you going where I am, is what he's saying. So you coming to me, I ain't coming to you. I'm everywhere, but you going to go there. So now Israel being attacked on behalf of David. Now let's see what David does. And David said to Yahuwah, I have sinned greatly because I have done this thing. But now I beseech you, do away with the iniquity of your servant, meaning himself, for I have done foolishly. Now when the last time you seen that kind of contrition of anybody that you know, brothers and sisters? See, most of Israel is so self-righteous. Oh, no, I don't have to repent to nobody because I ain't done nothing wrong. Really? Or maybe Yahuwah should say, you going to be the king, not David, in the new world to come. There's hierarchy there. Yahuwah, he's not going to be that David. Maybe he got the wrong person. Maybe it's you. Obviously, you better than David. I wonder why he didn't pick you. Can I give you a hint why he didn't pick you? Can we start with pride, arrogance, rebellion, high-mindedness, witchcraft, sorcery, idolatry? I mean, I can go on and on and on. But of course, you won't accept that either. You just throw me in prison. But he'll try. And y'all will come back and say, didn't I tell you touch not mine, learn it? And then you will cry. Mourning, suffering, desolation. We talked about that already in the early part of this message. Yahuwah means what he says. You might not mean what you say, but Yahuwah means what he says, brothers and sisters. But here's David say, I made a fool out of myself. So I knew the commandment said not to do it, but I did it anyway. I knew that the commandment said it was forbidden for me to do it, but I still did it. Now look at the mess I've created for myself. That's what David is saying. You're not sitting there saying, well, I've just misunderstood, or, I just trust in Yahuwah, that's who I trust. And, y'all, we all need to trust Yahuwah. You ain't trusting Yahuwah because you still living in wickedness, and you know it and I know it. Some of you. But then there's a small righteous remnant among us who are just like David, contrite. Just like David, when we see we err, we are straight up repentance. But we don't just repent, and send a text message. We repent, and then there's evidence. So we let you know, this is what I'm doing, elder. This is what I'm doing, prophet. This is what I'm doing, DFG. And this is what I'm doing today, tomorrow, and they don't stop all the way through. All the way through to the end. So a lot of people think, contrition is just say the right thing and you good. What Jesus said, just touch the rim of my helmet. Touch the rim. It's folly and foolishness. That's why I'm laughing. What the wicked little book says that the woman touched, she said, just let me touch the hem of your garment and I shall be whole. That's most of Yahuah's. You still in witchcraft with that foolishness. You will say you ain't never whole if you don't do contrition. You're not contrite, and there need to be evidence of it. Long-standing, clear evidence of it. You're not to be received back in until it's been validated that you have proven yourself to be contrite. Why he told Mary, out the camp you go 7 days. Had I been Moses, it would have been a whole lot longer than that. Read about that in Numbers chapter 12. Verse 9. Back to 2 Chronicles 21. Verse 9. And Yahuwah spoke unto Gad, David's seer, just like Asa had a seer, Hananiah, saying, go tell David, Yahuwah talking to the prophet again. Well, y'all don't talk to no man. You are a liar. You don't know what you're talking about. You are lying. He said there will always be a prophet. Go read, again, Deuteronomy 18 and 15. From among your brethren, like it to yourself, Gad was an Israelite. Verse 9, Yahuwah spoke to Gad, David's seer, saying, go and tell David, saying, thus says Yahuwah, I offer you 3 things. Choose one of them, that I may do it unto you. See, David repented, but guess what? There's a consequence. There's a contrition. This is what I'm saying to my brothers and sisters. Never think that Yahuwah is just going to let us do whatever we want to do. And then once we say, I'm sorry, master, that he's going to say, okay, nigga Jane, going back out there. No, that master would have took a whip and whipped your ass beyond death, off to the edge of death. Not beyond that, but onto the edge of death to make sure you understood. And these are heathens doing it to you. What do you think the most almighty creator, when he comes and judge? Yahuwah expects contrition when we're in error. I'm not talking about little things, but if it's something that goes against these commandments and you got called out for, you had better fix it or get fixed. And you can ignore it. Well, I ain't doing nothing against the commandments. Now you're lying because you don't even keep them. So everything you do is against the commandments. That's for those who take that approach, brothers and sisters. Look what verse 12 says. Now he told David, he said, David, you got 3 choices. Verse 12 says, either 3 years of famine, 3 months to be destroyed before your enemies, while the sword of your enemies overtake you, or else 3 days of the sword of Yahuwah, even the pestilence, which is disease in the land, and the angel of Yahuwah destroying throughout all the coast of Yasharel. That's his choices. You can die of diseases, your enemy can come and get you, you can die of war, you can die of hunger. Choose. Now this is King David, a man after Yahuwah's own heart. And Yah's not showing him any grace for his folly, any grace for his disobedience. What make you think, brothers and sisters, that he never changed? We read that Malachi 3 and 6, right? I'm Yahuwah, I change not. That's why Yasharel is not utterly destroyed. We read it in number 23:19. Yahuwah is not a man that he should lie, nor is he the son of man that he should repent. That's right over here. Hold your hand there. Let's go to the book of Numbers. So if Yahuwah, and these Israelites, well, I know he don't change. He doesn't change. Well, then if you know he's not changing, why are you trying to claim he's changing now? You see what I'm saying? How Israel like to project things upon the Creator, brothers and sisters? Why? Because they're in disobedience. So they're doing, let me just put that over here. Well, look at it said right here. the book of Numbers. Chapter 22. Sorry, brothers and sisters. I gave you the wrong verse. 23 and 19. It is 23 and 19. My eyes are all over the place. Okay. Look what it says here, brothers and sisters. It says what? Yahuwah is not a man that he should lie, neither the son of Adam that he should repent. Has he said it, and he shall not do it? Has he spoken it, and he should not make it be good? He's making it crystal clear right here, brothers and sisters. He doesn't change. So how all of a sudden you can do things you shouldn't be doing, we can do things that we should not be doing, but there is no contrition to be expected. No behavior to demonstrate that we've learned from our error. You know what I'm saying? The biggest lies you can tell is the lie you tell yourself. Hallelujah. No, there are going to be consequences. Verse 13. Well, let's finish up verse 12. It said, 3 days of the sword of Yahuwah, even the diseases in the land, and the angel of Yahuwah destroying throughout all the coast of Israel. That's what he's saying. That's the talking about the diseases going to come through Yahuwah. Now, therefore, advise yourself, what shall I bring again to him that sent me? This is what Gad is telling David. And David said unto Gad, I am in a great strait. Let me fall now into the hand of Yahuwah, for very great are his mercies. But let me not fall into the hands of men. David said, okay, if I'm going to let Yahuwah, okay, I'll have to suffer because I don't want my enemies to kill me. I don't want my enemies to overthrow me. I don't want my enemies, to make me suffer, to torture me. He says, so let me fall into Yahuwah's judgment then. And this is for all the people that only Yahuwah can judge me. Really? So they said that. Most of them who said that, what are they at now, brothers and sisters? Judged, dead. Because they don't play Yahuwah. Before you start talking about only Yahuwah can judge you, you better be careful with that one. Yahuwah don't play. Man might give you mercy, but Yahuwah, that's highly debatable without contrition. Matter of fact, it ain't going to happen. So David said, let me fall into the hand of Yahuwah. Maybe, I'll let him decide. So Yahuwah sent the pestilence upon Yashrael. And there fell on Yashrael 70,000 men. There fell of Yashrael, not fell on, fell. 70,000 people died in Yashrael because of David. And David said, let me fall into the mercies of Yahuwah. That's Yahuwah's mercy, 70,000. And see, people looking at this earth and say, well, how can Yahuwah destroy the whole earth? 9 out of 10, that's his mercy for the 1/10. That's why he's going to destroy the whole earth, for the mercy of, some of the brothers and some of the sisters, you all. He's going to destroy all of them for us because he knows their wickedness is not going to change. They're going to keep on doing it. They're just going to get worse and worse and worse. So Yahuwah said, no, he's going to deal with them right here. The heathens too. Esau, Edom, all of them devils going to be gone. But there'll be some righteous strangers, but I suspect, brothers and sisters, we don't know them. I know we know some who say they want to be, but every time they get tested, you can tell they'll do just the opposite of what Yahuwah said. They'll go so far, but they ain't going to go all the way. And they're going to fall into the hands of Yahuwah. It's going to end bad for them. Verse 16, and David lifted up his eyes, and he saw the angel of Yahuwah stand between the earth and heaven, having a drawn sword in his hand, stretched out over Jerusalem. And David and the elders of Yashrael, who were clothed in sackcloth, fell upon their faces. Remember when Aaron, in the book of Numbers, when Yahuwah killed the 14,000 Israelites for getting mad at Moses because Yahuwah had killed Nathan, Kuram, and Abiram and their families? Remember they got mad? And Yahuwah said, okay, y'all think you mad at Moses? Wait till I finish with y'all. And it was Aaron had to stand between, life and death so that Yahuwah would stop the plague. He would stop the death. So when this book says Yahuwah is a man of war, that's exactly what he is, brothers and sisters. Yahuwah is not to be played with. And I think that many of Israel conflating him with Jesus, or because Jesus is a myth, at best, a demon. And it will, plagiarize, and it will compromise, and it will incentivize, or whatever it has to do to keep you hypnotized. But your end gonna still be damnation. This is why you need to be over here with us in the truth, consistently, and standing and helping and supporting what we're doing over here. Not no passive aggressive foolishness. I'm here, elder, but where are you? Verse 17. And then David said unto Yahuwah, is it not I that commanded the people to be numbered? See how David's taking accountability for his behavior, brothers and sisters? Even I, is it that have sinned and done evil indeed? See, he didn't blame it on the devil. He took response. Satan might have entered his heart, but David said, I did it. Brother Mendez and I would, we talk about from time to time, all the people blaming the devil. The devil made me do. The devil ain't made you do a damn thing. You did it. He might have tempted and set the stage, but you activated it. You did have a choice. David chose. That's what he's saying. He said, I did this. So look at he said again, verse 17. David said unto Yahuwah, it is not I that commanded the people to be counted. He didn't blame Joab. He didn't blame the captain of the guard. He said, even I it is that have sinned and have done evil indeed. But as far as these people, what have they done? He said, let your hand, I pray, Yahuwah, be on me and on my father's house, and not on your people, that they should be plagued. So that's real leadership. That's leadership with accountability. That's why Yahuwah says, my leaders are not like the rest of them leaders. He said, my prophet is not like their prophet. My way, that's why he said, my ways are not your ways, and my thoughts are not your thoughts. That's what Yahuwah said, my prophet thinks like I think. Otherwise, he wouldn't be my prophet. That's why he said you can trust them. David was in error, but he's still trustworthy. He accept responsibility. Then blame Yahuwah, blame himself. And then the angel of Yahuwah commanded Gad to say to David that David should go up and set up an altar unto Yahuwah in the threshing floor of Arnan, the Jehuvi. Okay, I'm sorry, I can't pronounce that word. And David went up at the saying of Gad. Again, David listening to the prophet. He go before Yahuwah. Yahuwah tells the prophet what to tell David, and David obeys the prophet. How many of you all think you can do that? Because that's the way Yahuwah operates. And David went up at the saying of Gad, which he spoke in the name of Yahuwah. And Arnan turned back and saw the angel and his 4 sons with him. They hid themselves. Now Arnan is looking around and they say, ooh, it's hot over there. Ooh. Yahuwah he like, oh boy. Yahuwah is killing. Him and his sons said, y'all, let's get out of here. Let's get out of here. But they say, no, we need something from you, Onan. Do not move. Freeze. Now Onan was threshing wheat. And David came to Arnan, and Arnan looked and saw David and went out of the threshing floor and bowed himself down to David with his face to the ground. Look how he honors the man of Yahuwah. He's not coming there prophet. Even though David was in error and people are being judged, he still respects the authority. He's not getting out of order with David. He bowed down to the man's feet. And Arnan said, same thing Abigail when she met David. Go read about that in what is that? 1 Samuel chapter 25. When Abigail first met David, she bowed down to David. She didn't get in like, who are you, David? She said, no, you ain't king yet, but one day you will. And I'm going to let you know right now, I am at your service. And Arnan said to David, take, verse 22. And David said to Arnan, grant me the place of this threshing floor, that I may build an altar therein unto Yahuwah. and you shall grant it to me for the full price, that the plague may be stayed from me. And Hananiah said to David, take it, and let my lord the king do that which is good in his eyes. He ain't being rebellious. So you take what you want, take it. He ain't like by force saying, no, it's yours, take it. David said, I ain't got nothing that don't belong to you, elder, watchman, prophet. He said, nah, you Yah's man, so hey, it's all for Yah anyway. So, hey, he's on the threshing floor. See, the man's over there talking about Onan. He said, take it for you, and let my lord the king do that which is good in his eyes. And lo, I give the oxen also for a burnt offering, and threshing floor instruments. I'm throwing in everything. He said, the wheat, the meat, everything. He said, I'm going to give it all to you, David. You see what's going on? He's like, man, this man is a shield to us. So whatever you need, David, you get it. And King David said to Ornan, no, but I will truly buy it for the full price. For I will not take that which is yours for Yahuwah, nor offer a burnt offering without a cost. So here's the man telling David, you can have it for free. And David said, no, I'm not ever going to offer Yahuwah something that costs me nothing. So there's all these little wicked Israelites talking about, well, nobody should be helping you with the word, elder. You don't know what you're talking about. You don't know anything about what you're talking about. That's why you're going to stay in the situation that you're in. Because if you knew this book, you would understand clearly Yahuwah's way is a total different from the way you thinking. But you so caught up, in nothingism that you count nothing as something. That's why David said, no, I ain't going to take nothing that don't cost me something and bring it before Yahuwah. Say, no, there's a price for it. Yeah, I'm offering it to Yahuwah, but there's a price I'm going to pay for it. It's got to cost me something. Because I want Yahuwah to know I'm sincere. I'm better than the rest of y'all. That's what David is saying. I ain't like them average. I'm a wicked king. He said, no, I get it. It's too precious for me to go in there empty-handed. So David gave Onan for the place 600 shekels of gold by weight. And David built there an altar unto Yahuwah, and offered burnt offerings and peace offerings, and called upon Yahuwah. And he answered him from heaven by the fire and the altar of burnt offerings. So David is a perfect demonstration if we want to see what contrition, what it is, submission, contrition, and obedience looks like. If you want to get restoration or forgiveness. Asa died. Y'all killed him. David, y'all restored him. He accepted him. Brought him back into the fold. Because David was willing to be contrite and willing to make the sacrifices, allowing it to cost him something and not putting, how you say, a price on it. He said, I don't give a shit what it costs. And Yahuwah commanded, verse 27, and Yahuwah commanded the angel, and he put the sword away and the chef back in. So the angel, Yahuwah told him, okay, stop. Okay, I accept the offering. We're good. And at that time, when David saw Yahuwah had answered him on the threshing floor of Onan the Jehusi, that he sacrificed there, and for the verse 29, for the tabernacle of Yahuwah, which Moses made in the wilderness, and the altar of the burnt offering were at that season in the high place of Givon. But David could not go before to inquire of Elohim. But David could not go to inquire of it before Elohim, for he was afraid because of the sword of the angel of Yahuwah. And David was like, I'm going to, accept my contrition. He said, I know Yahuwah loved me. He said, let's go to Proverbs. Let's go on Proverbs chapter 3. Hallelujah. So I'd rather the word persuade you than elder, even though I'm a part of the word. I'm a part of the vessel. Proverbs 3:11 says this, my son, despise not the chastising of Yahuwah. See, it's David. He didn't get angry. He's so like, no, I'm not only David was so humble by David, said, I'm going to wait before I go back. I'm going to make sure he's really, really forgiving me, really not mad. I want to make sure that things have calmed down. So that's something that I think all of us can learn, and especially you daughters of Zion. Sometimes you have to learn how to be quiet. Things get hot. Just be quiet. Sometimes you're talking and you think you're doing the right thing, but you're really doing the wrong thing because you're adding coal to the fire. Sometimes when you're in a dispute, especially with one who's in authority like you're covering, you need to just pull back and just be quiet. You want Yahuwah to restore you and forgive you and bless you. You better learn how to be quiet without an attitude. David didn't have no attitude. He just said, let me calm myself down at the end of the day. He's right, I'm wrong. And he don't have to prove to me how wrong I am. He's an authority. What he says goes. There's no better time than right now to learn that, daughters of Zion, before you get yourself in a situation where it's too late. Then you'd be like Jezebel getting tossed over some balcony and the dog's eating you. I told people about them damn dogs you think are pets, and them same dogs you're going to be their supper. They get hungry enough. But he says, again, Proverbs 3:11, my son, despise not the chastising of Yahuwah, neither be weary of his correction. For whom Yahuwah loves, he corrects, even as a father corrects the son that he delights in. Happy is the man that finds wisdom and the man that gets understanding. Because that's what he's tying it into. He said, if you got wisdom and understanding, then you're accepting correction and contrition. You know it's going to make you a better Israelite. You know that Yahuwah is going to make your offering a better sacrifice. And this is why Yahuwah has sent this prophet to constantly grind this to powder, reminding my brothers and sisters. Don't get caught up in all this hearsay going on out here in these streets. All this stuff about, what's going to happen October 31st and how these people are going to go and, how you say, what I said earlier, grab and stash or grab and run, whatever they talking about doing, brothers, they ain't going to do it at the point of a gun. I guarantee you they're not. And they're going to be a bunch of guns permanent. And maybe it's not going to happen this weekend coming. Maybe it's not. But I guarantee you, they're getting you ready for it. This is a test run, as they say, or a dry run. But it's coming. This book says it's going to be famine. This book says it's going to be hunger. Why? Because Yahuwah is judging this whole earth. And it don't matter. Again, I'm telling you something, you little white trash. I don't want to call you white trash, but some of you got a trashy mind. Because you think the rules don't apply to you, but somehow you think you're controlling Yahuwah's word. That you get to do whatever you want to do because you white. And I'm going to tell you something. You're going to be eating your kind too. Or your kind going to be eating you. There ain't one way you can get out of this mess. You got to be with Yahshua, and you got to be submissive. You got to be obedient. You already heard the word. Go read again Isaiah 56, verse 7 and 8. It says clearly what's expected of you. And not just the one, you got to be there. You got to be the one. You have to be the one listening to Yah's chosen one. And no one else, the one Yahuwah puts in charge. And he's not leaving it up to you. You don't get to decide. You get to obey or not. But Israel, Judah, this fire is getting hot. Judgment is here. There's no government, just heathens making decisions. I'm going to say it to you again. There is no government. It's heathens making decisions. There's never been a government. Just heathens making decisions about you. It doesn't matter where you are on this flat earth. It's just heathens making decisions about you. You can't tell yet. And here it is, Yahuwah said, I'm trying to give you mercy. I'm trying to give you grace. I've given you a prophet from among your own kind. I'm speaking him to speak to you because I love you. You're the apple of my eye. But at the same time, you won't listen to him because you won't listen to me. And therefore, guess what? Now I'm going to leave you to them. And when they finish with you, you're going to regret the day you were born. And then even after that, because you're going to burn in hell for eternity. Damn. Or not. The church is each and every one of us. What did Moses tell us that Yahuwah told him in Deuteronomy chapter 30? He said, I place before you, verse 9, I place for you, Yahshua, life and death. They choose life. Choosing life means you got to be choosing obedience, choosing contrition, choosing, you know what I'm saying? Sacrifice, giving, supporting, standing, doing what you are told. And what you're not told. Nobody told David. The man told David, Don't worry about it. It's on the house. David said, I'll be damned. I'm giving you something. So you giving me the threshing floor that I might be able to pray, I'm giving you compensation. So I will never offer you something that cost me nothing. That's why David, was a man after Yahuwah's heart, because that's the kind of heart David had. He took responsibility, didn't shun. He didn't try to blame the situation or misunderstanding or try to pervert the word. Even where he's lying, talking about, the prophet not rightly dividing the truth. You are a liar, woman. Or women, or men, or man. You're a liar. You say he's going to double the judgment on you. There's nothing that I twisted. You read it right along with me. How is that twisted? And then what book you reading from? Because you can't be reading from this book. This is a living document, a living judgment with living consequences that are coming now. What's going to happen this weekend? Who knows? But I know one thing about it. All this talk about you going to strong arm your way into these stores, that's a lie. There ain't nobody strong arming themselves. Those are crisis actors that you see. Oh, I saw them in New York. Those crisis actors, brothers and sisters. Some people paid by the government to do that, to create chaos. It's called the Hegelian. It's called the, listen to me carefully. Get this right. It's called the Hegelian dialectic. The Hegelian dialectic. The Hegelian dialectic. Look it up. What is the Hegelian dialectic? It's called action, reaction, solution. They create the situation, they create the situation to get a certain reaction, and then they come up with the solution for the situation they created in the first place. This is what you see playing out in real time. So they're creating all this thuggery and all these people breaking in stores and all these people stealing and all these people mass killing and mass shooting. All that stuff is staged so that they can get a reaction out of you. So when they come into your city, you do nothing thinking that they're helping you when the whole time they were playing you to get to a particular result they were looking for. And that's a one world order, where the population is down to 500,000 and this earth truly given to the hands of the wicked. That's their plan. And most of Israel falling right into it, paying into it, unfortunately. Paying and playing into it. But praise Yahuwah. He said there will be a righteous remnant, my elect. They would say the wise, as he called it. He said the wise, he said they would understand. He said, but the wicked, he said they're not going to understand. They're going to keep on going down that road, even though they're being warned by Yah's prophet. This one. So to you, my brothers and sisters, I hope that you have been informed. I hope you feel educated. I hope you feel like you're being taught. I hope you share the video. I hope you thumb up the message. I hope you meditate, reflect on it, and do something about it. I appreciate those of you who are helping with the work. I'm talking about you who are giving more than just, your time to listen. Yahuwah say he's going to bless you sevenfold. With that being said, we'll be together tomorrow night to Knox study. You can find the information on the About page, and if you want to help and give, that's there too. And again, this is the word of Yahuwah. You heard it. You heard it out of love, by the way. I'm here because it's my job. I'm here to do my job. And my job is to wake up Yasharel before that final trumpet stops. You hear that trumpet in the background? You hear this? Numbers chapter 10 says what? That trumpet means time to go fight. Who is a man of war? Are you ready? It's time. Shalom.